How's it going, guys? Content enjoyer, Tentsuji 15, Simple Simon, Happy Shikar, Jung Sha, Nisan, Backpack Nobody. Hi everyone, how's it going, everyone? I usually stay up very late working on my games, and I kind of figured, it's depending on what I'm working on. Sometimes it's possible to sort of put the live stream on and hang out. So, hi everyone. Hey, Elamon. Good to see you. Redbeard, Seon, Caesar Nazaro. So basically what I'm working on right now is just finishing up the environments for this game. Let me know if the music is too quiet or too loud. So what I'm working on right now, it's 10:43 for me at night. I usually work until like 2 or 3. But you see I've drawn these outlines, right, with these trees, so that way I know which areas are walkable and not. This is blocking out. What I'm doing is blocking out the environment. I use labels here, so I know what I'm supposed to put here. The game that I'm working on is a remake of Silver Falls Undertakers, so I know there's a pit there. The character named Shelly is supposed to be in the pit. I know that there's 2 NPCs that are supposed to be here. So what I'm doing is blocking out the environment, so I know this area is traversable, this is not, and I'm just coming back in now with a paintbrush, and then I'm, filling that in. That's, that's too dense. So what I'm going to do is undo that. So that's what I'm working on tonight. I'll be working till pretty late, as normal, so I just thought it'd be cool to listen to some tunes and chill. The music is from my Silver Falls games. So I might have a little bit of a tough time reading the chat. I'll look over and catch up with the chat as much as I can, but I need to focus on getting my games done here. So I'll try to chat as much as I can, but really I kind of figured it'd be fun to just sort of share this process with you guys. And again, let me know if the music's ever too loud or too quiet. It's a bit too loud. Thanks for letting me know. I'll turn that right on down. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's impossible for me to tell from this end. I'm not some sort of super audio engineer when it comes to live streaming. So, one important thing that I really need to keep track of after I block out the areas, I need to make sure that the player character can't fit through gaps in the trees. So that's something that I need to pay attention to. If you have a look at this sort of green light area here, that's actually an invisible collider box. So where that is, that's already solid, so the player can't go past that. Back past that is nothing. The world doesn't exist. All we see is what our parents show us when we're young, and everything else in the world doesn't exist. Good to eat to you guys. Good to see you guys, Jody Kirk, Herman Carter, Brett. Real streamers don't read chat. I don't know how to be a real streamer because I've never done like the bathtub thing, so I don't get it. But how much is a bathtub? Let's see. I'm not sponsored by AliExpress, but AliExpress just has like the weirdest dumb stuff. So what I'm going to hope is that nothing inappropriate shows up on AliExpress, because I'll search for like a handheld game console and then the most inappropriate things will come up. So let's go inflatable hot tub. This is not going to turn out right. This stream's getting demonetized immediately. How much going over bathtub stream? It's so dumb. What is that? It's so small. It's the smallest thing I've ever seen. No, that... Is this for pets? Is this a dog one? That's way too small for a human. Wow, that's so expensive, 2 to 4. So guys, if I do a bathtub stream, do I get one that's for 2 to 4 people, or do I get this one where it's like the size of a trash can? Like that guy barely fits in about that. It's like a big cup, you're right. It is a big cup. Oh, this one has like a sort of a wood veneer thing going on. That is... What am I looking at? I'm not going to scroll down because I know that AliExpress will just start showing me really inappropriate stuff. Can Can you explain what's going on in Fall Guys when beans walk in the air when you get disconnected? Oh, hey, Baked Buddhist. That's very interesting. So, absolutely, what can be happening is when characters get disconnected, um, it can actually take a while before the server registers that a player gets disconnected. So, it still needs to have the character moving and existing in the world. So if the player gets disconnected, the character can still exist if it takes time for the server to recognize this character isn't controlled by anyone, and it can, depending on the game logic, it can take time for the game logic to process, okay, let's go ahead and remove this character from gameplay. I haven't played Fall Guys, but let me go ahead and look that up. So let's go to YouTube. Fall Guys. It's connected. Thanks very much for that. Okay. But disconnected from server Fall Guys issue. I don't know. I'll just play this, I'll see. We have to watch... Guys, we're watching ads together. Oh, I have ads. Ad block. So, Fall Guys disconnected from the server issue. I've never played this game. This looks really, really fun. It's just beautiful chaos. Yeah, and the game still thinks it's walking, so the walking animation just keeps playing, absolutely. So what happens is the entity still exists in the game, but because there's no more character logic, generally it's the player side, depending on the game, it could be the player side that is determining where the position of the character is. And if the player is no longer sending that data, the server could be interpolating or interpreting where the player should be, if it's taking into account the velocity or the movement, but it's probably the player side that calculates the gravity and all of that. So that's most likely why they disconnected. I would have to play Fall Guys to see it for myself, but I'm going to base this off how most games work. Not a YouTuber, normal human being. Yeah, just a normal, boring human being. Yeah, I am a solo developer, so I just have to brute force it and put in a massive amount of hours. So I generally don't sleep a lot, especially like this game is very far into development. And it's really just like visual stuff like this, where you sort of populate small details like that. This stuff I usually save towards the end. I do the important stuff first. What kind of bee makes milk? Is this a... No, I don't know. Tell me, what kind of bee makes milk? You can't play Fall Guys, it's too addicting. You need to make your own... This is the problem, right? I have a self-ban on games that I know I'm really going to like, because I will... Obviously, I'm going to play them a bunch and then lose track of time. So I usually buy games that I think I'm not that interested in, which is cool because I end up finding stuff that I wouldn't normally buy, and then I end up really enjoying it. So that's a positive. But it sucks because when a new game comes out and I really want to play it, I just feel really bummed out because I think I absolutely don't have time for that right now. But, you know, if I work really hard and work really fast on these games, I can make some free time. I need to play the new Bleach fighting game, and it's... I mean, I'm obviously exaggerating. You don't need to play a video game, but ethically, morally, I need to play the Bleach fighting game. I don't know if there's any Bleach fans here, but I have this problem where a significant portion of my brain is dedicated to memorizing the Zanpakuto names and even some of the release commands and like the characters' names, and it's problematic if you get me started talking about Bleach because I won't stop talking about the Zanpakuto and the quirks of all how the power works. So, oh, you're enjoying Clash of Ball? Awesome, thanks. I made Clash of Ball because I grew up. I was a little bit addicted to Puzzle Bobble. Or if there's any Puzzle Bobble fans here, Oh man, I love Puzzle Bobble, and I wanted to make a puzzle action game that felt like something that you would have seen in an arcade. Like you're walking past the arcade machines, and then you see something just like hectic and crazy. It's just this puzzle game that like puts you in danger. Like when you do pop the bubbles, your life is in danger. And I wanted to make something like that, so that's why I made Clasher Ball. It was sort of my homage to arcade puzzle games from the 2000s, basically. This is your first live that I've caught. Hey, good to see you. I don't do lives that often because I mean it's not something that I plan on or think about. But I was just working and then I thought, oh, I could just turn the camera on and we can hang out and chat while I'm working on games. So hey, welcome to anyone that's just joining in. What I'm doing is I'm filling in the areas that I've blocked out. So what I've done is I've blocked out the areas that are traversable. It's almost 11 here, so if I stutter, it's because I've been working all day long. So you can see the game world here. There's some labels and things like that. But I block out the areas that are traversable. I make these outlines. Now I'm basically coloring inside the lines, like that. Ooh, look at all that work I just did really fast. I'm going to leave that. That was really good. That was efficient game development there. I block this out so I know that I want the character to be able to walk through this area. So I think this will be a good example. I will go ahead and fill in this area now, and then I'll show you how that all works, how that all comes together. So look at it now. This is what it... And I'm sorry, I'm going to have a hard time keeping up with the chat. I'm trying to read the chat, but I'm also trying to get work done, and that's the challenge, you know. But challenge is fun. Okay. But do shout at me if the music is too quiet or too loud. Is it all right now? Can you explain the circle, the rendering circle? What do you mean the rendering circle? Can you explain that? I'll see if I can give an explanation. Smith Johnson, hey Jerrel, what was your reaction to when Ichigo got his true Bankai? Oh, I was confused. I was so confused because they didn't show enough of it. And I'm still... so I'm going to be honest with you here, and I'm always honest when I talk about Bleach. Sometimes I wake up in a cold sweat at 3 a.m., and I wake up, and I jump out of bed, and I think, what the hell is Ichigo's Zanpakuto now? What the hell does it do? What is this Bankai? And then I'm up for like half an hour, and then I go online and I'm scrolling on the internet to see if anyone has an answer that I can understand. And I usually go for like 40 minutes or something, and then I can't find any answer that I can understand. It's all these people are sort of giving their guesses on Ichigo's Bankai, and then I sort of accept that I don't think I'll ever understand what Ichigo's true Bankai is, and then I go back to sleep. So that's... yeah, if you get me started on Bleach, I'm probably not going to stop talking about it. So here we go. Hey, Phil and Danny, how's it going? Welcome. Some brief info about the program engine we're seeing. This is Unity. I'm using a very old version of Unity. This is Unity 5, and I use Unity 5, and then once my game is done, I then bring it up to the newer versions, and the reason being is that the older versions of Unity are significantly faster. Not just using it, but every single aspect about the older Unity is just way faster. It's way faster to open your games. It's more stable. It takes less RAM from your computer, so it's less likely to crash your computer. The older versions are just more stable. They're just better. And it sucks that it has to be that way. Because as they make the software better, it gets worse, is what I'm saying. So I generally do all of my development in Unity 5, but I do that because I know that I want to bring my games to platforms like Vita and other homebrew platforms. And if I create it in Unity 5, that means that I can bring it to older game consoles as well. So that's why I work in Unity 5. So it's a combination of planning ahead so I can port it to other older game consoles, and Unity 5 is just so fast. So there we go. Do you mean the player rendering distance for SSD? I mean there's a circle in the middle of his camera. There's a circle in the middle of my camera? Have you tried Godot? I've booted up Godot and I've tinkered a little bit. I haven't had a chance to make a game. Um, and the reason being is that Godot doesn't target any platforms that are unique for me. If there's an engine that can say, for example, if someone made a game maker for like Super Nintendo, I would be all over that. I'd be using that, at least, a couple times a year to make games. So I haven't used Godot because it doesn't target any unique platforms for me. Morning, hey, Phantom GB, good to see you. Hey, Fox Hills, how's it going? Unity 5.6 was peak. Yes, Luis-san knows exactly what I'm talking about. And so, yeah, this is 5.6. It's so fast. Sometimes I will boot up because I have my games in Switch development, and then I have to open the newest version of Switch, and then I have to sit for like 20 minutes while my game opens, and it's very disheartening when you get ramped up. Like, you get up in the morning, you have your coffee, and you write out your tasks for the day for game development. You go, yeah, man, I'm finally going to fix that annoying bug. I'm going to implement elemental alignments into my damage output and my weapons. I'm going to finally fully implement the skill database. And then you're ramped up, and then you hit your project on Unity, and then it just like sits there, and then it has the progress bar, but it's the progress bar where it goes to the end, and then it restarts. And then your soul like leaves your body a little bit, and it's so disheartening, when that happens. Unity was just, yeah. So the Super Smash 97 has been hanging out with me since the very beginning, since I first started making commercial titles. So Super Smash knows the problems that I've had with Unity, and I feel like I've recovered enough of my soul, but Unity used to chip away at my soul. In a terrible, terrible way, because I was working closely with Nintendo to get the final games done for the 3DS and the Wii U, and I promised Nintendo 7 games within 10 months. I said, look, I've got them partially finished. I can get these done for you. We can get some last-minute games done for the 3DS and Wii U. And then Nintendo, I can't, there's certain things that I can't say to you guys about my working relationship when it comes to putting games on their consoles, but they basically said, are you sure you can do that? And I said, yeah, no, it's fine. I can definitely do it. And I'm sitting there like looking at the calendar, looking at the clock, and I'm realizing, Nintendo expects me to get these games submitted, and Unity is just like nuked my game, and it's just erased a bunch of my progress after it crashed. And I'm thinking like, this engine's gonna like just chip away at my soul until there's nothing left but a scarecrow. Luis, on modern Unity frustrates me so much. Yes, Luis, you get it. You get it. That's why I work. I make all my games in Unity 5.6, like basically 99% done, and then I move it across to the new versions. And then I find out that a bunch of stuff breaks. So, that's game development. Music is a bit loud. Thank you very much for letting me know. I'm going to dial that down now. Thank you. You like Godot, but the confusion about porting to console is a bummer. That's what I've heard is I guess they're sort of, porting to other consoles. Maybe it isn't as refined. With Unity, it's pretty good, so I have to accept the good with the bad. Every game engine has positives and negatives. Hey, Roberto, good morning. So I've just accepted all of the negatives of Unity because the positives for Unity outweigh the negatives. You see a dolphin shape. Hey, this is like a Rorschach situation. Okay, so I got stuck on that fun little area there. We're blocking this area out, and then I'll show you some. Oh, this is something I need to pay attention to. So I blocked out the areas. I know that I don't want this to be traversable, right? But I have to watch out for gaps because I know that the player can fit in through there. But there might be areas where I want the player to be able to get in there, but like a secret. So I plan ahead for that, and I think, okay, put a little valuable weapon upgrade item in there, So we're just going to fill this in super fast. Here we go. Oh, look how fast this is. And I've planned for this game specifically so that these trees are very low poly count. They don't have a lot of polygons. So even if I have like a metric butt ton of these trees, it's actually not going to cause significant slowdown. So And that's the kind of planning that really saves you so much time as a developer. Otherwise, you need to be extremely careful with the way that you populate your in-game assets. You know what I love doing? And for a lot of you have played my games already, and I think I'm a bad person for doing this, but I do have games where I'll make an area like this, and then I'll make it to where, like, within view of the camera you'll see an item, and it's, you know, that you should be able to pick it up, but I'll put it in a spot where you'll never be able to actually go and pick it up. And then from the programmatic side, I'll actually put something like absurdly valuable in there, like, you know, $90,000 or whatever. I'll put it in there, but there's no way the player will ever be able to access it. And it's like, look, the power is mine, right? The power is mine to put. Because as a gamer, that's the kind of thing that I think is really funny. I think, as a gamer, sometimes you see a treasure chest. Do you guys... Okay, let me know in the chat if anyone is like, they get to an area in the game, they see the treasure chest, and then a cutscene starts, and you can't pay attention to anything in the cutscene because you're looking at the treasure chest. And you're like, oh, dude, stop talking already. And then you're planning out, like, how fast can I get to that treasure chest? I need these people to stop talking to me right now. That's you? Immigrant mentality, mahogany, yes, bro. I was playing Tales of Exilia. Is it Tales of Exilia on the Switch? That happened to me the other day. I got to some, like, ancient ruins. It was that. I've just described it, and I didn't pay attention to the story at all. I was so distracted. Thanks. It's the classic Nintendo haha prank room. Yeah, that's it. Like, if it's clear I can't pick it up, okay, but otherwise I'd seek for hours on how to get there. Yeah, there's certain games that have done that to me, and I think I'm lashing out with my own frustration, because there are games where I've never figured out how to get a treasure chest. It's kind of like Ocarina of Time does that, but in Ocarina of Time you can pick up things, but there are games where years later I'll wake up in a cold sweat and I'll think, was I supposed to be able to pick that up or not? See, I just have this feeling I need to fill that in just a little bit more here. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to grab my spawn point. So the way that my games work, when I have like an action-adventure style game, I use something called a spawn point. It's not like this fancy, I'm acting like it's this special thing. I mean, I literally call it a spawn point, so it has a spawn ID, so that I can have different points. Like if I duplicated that, and then gave that a different spawn ID, and then I told the game, spawn the player at ID 2, then the game will put the player there. This is how you manage when you spawn into a room. Say like you exit a building, and then you enter the overworld, but how do you tell the game where to put the player? So this is how I do it. So when the game boots up, there's a room manager. The room manager will just automatically find all of these. It'll create a list. It'll check the whole room, look for all of the spawn points, and then it'll organize them by number. And then it'll check the game. The game says go to spawn point 10. It's going to check for spawn point 10, and then it's going to spit the player right there. So that's how I do it in my games, and it's an easy approach. Otherwise, you would manually specify by numbers, like the number value, like put the player at 900, you know, by negative 460. You can't do that. I like having this visual method here to view it. So let's go ahead and just put our spawn point here. And then we'll run it. Certain Trails games, there will be treasure chests in the city, but you can't get it until the last act. Pretty troll. Dev. Oh man, I've only played one Trails game. It was on the PSP. But I think those developers and I think we have something in common. I think they get me. But at least you can get it. So you see how this is the area I was just filling in. So let's go ahead and shrink that down now. And if we look overhead, we can see this is the area. You guys were here for this. I had my sippy cup animal crackers blink ready to watch Cocomelon, but you went. So this is so exciting. As a fellow game dev, I'm so happy to be able to learn from you. You know, this is what's exciting to me with any sort of endeavor that you set out to do. You can learn from other people. It doesn't matter if you've been doing it for years and years and years. Everyone does some activity a little differently, right? Everyone has their own approach, and you can all learn from each other. And it's sad to see people who've been doing things for decades and then refuse to learn more because they think I'm a master at this, I don't need to learn anything. There's always more ways to improve and learn. So this is something that I keep track of here, is obviously these trees are too close together and it doesn't look right. So that's why I traverse these areas, and those are things that I look for. So I will go ahead and just bring that brush size down to 1, and then we'll fix it. We'll fix it like that. We'll just... It's like a teleporter situation. You're not creating a clone, you're erasing the original. I mean, I don't want to make people sad thinking about how teleporters work in Star Trek, but you gotta erase the original. Sorry about that. And see, this is the thing that you can do for thousands of hours, and at some point you have to call it. You can say, I've done enough. I can't keep, you know, fudging the trees, you know, for hours and hours. Eventually you just have to stop and launch your game. So I'm just making sure everything is traversable. Guys, it's late at night. It's 11. I've been working all day. I need to make sure that the player can't sneak through those areas unless I want the player to do so. I love secret stuff. Hey, Osmond, how's it going? Happy little accident trees. You're absolutely right. You got it. We had a saying at work, better to take an inexperienced person to train them, because an experienced person thinks they know everything. That's true. If you hear about people that go missing in the mountains, you know, it's often people who have been doing it for decades, and, you know, people say, oh, they were an expert, you know, this guy or this lady, they wouldn't have made a mistake. But it's the people that get complacent because they feel like they know everything. Those are often people that disappear because they make a stupid mistake. And that's something I think about. See, to me, this kind of looks like you might be able to sneak through. And what's so important with games and visual expression is conveyance. And I don't want the player to think that they can fit through. So what I'm going to do is fix that up. Now it's clear. Now I'm definitely conveying you can't go through there. I mean, so for me personally, I'd put a little treasure in there, and it would just drive people insane. Do you look so chill? This is one of my workstations. It's a couch, so it's pretty comfortable, and then I tend to do this kind of work here. I use this to... I was destroying my arm. When I was making the final games for the Wii U and 3DS, I went through like 7 mice. I was working so fast, so brutally, and I got my games done, but I was destroying mice left and right, and then I you know, RSI, repeated stress injury on my elbow, my shoulder, my wrist. So I got this trackball, and that basically saved my life. I was worried. I was thinking, I'm not going to be able to do game development anymore. I've just destroyed my joints making these games, you know? But this thing's awesome. So, yeah, basically, I can't do game development without this. I'm just going to buy a bunch of them. Kanyo. Yeah, well, see, the thing was, I went through, like, a decent mouse, and then when I destroyed that one, I just started buying the cheaper ones, because I realized, look, the way that I'm working right now, these mice are not going to last, so... I'm just going to get the cheap ones. And yeah, sure, if I bought like the more expensive mice, they obviously would have lasted longer, but they were going to get destroyed anyway. Like, I was working so furiously. The problem is, with a lot of my work, with the 3D modeling and then the placing and the map movement, I use a lot of the middle click. And I think mice are not really designed to handle a lot of stress on the middle click. That's what was going wrong. And then I was using the middle click so much, working so fast, that it would collapse. And then the scroll would stop working, and then you wouldn't be able to middle click anymore. So that's what was going wrong. I didn't even know mice could be destroyed like that. Still using my razor for 7 years. Yeah. It's the middle click. I think they just weren't designed to be manhandled the way that I was using them. So this feels plain, right? We're looking at this, and I have a visual design philosophy I call breaking the line. You see how we have harsh lines here, and it's just so dull looking. Not just in terms of the composition, you know, that's the tree in the ground. It's not just that, but it's the color and it's the texture that we're looking at. So we're going to go ahead and fill it in. And I also don't like this. I don't like that you can see gaps in there. So those are things that I seek out. And then sometimes it's best to use a big paintbrush and paint a bunch of trees. Sometimes you need to do a job with a sledgehammer, and sometimes you need to use a scalpel. So this is a situation we will now use the scalpel. And we're just going to precision place some trees. Gotta be so evil to put a treasure chest in there. Look, we aren't perfect people, all right? Sometimes I'll do that in my games. I know for a fact, in my Game Boy Color game, Galaxy Bound Curse, I did that on one spot, and there's like a ton of money that's in a spot that you absolutely will never be able to get to. And the reason I did that was because I was thinking, eventually someone's going to figure out like how to do a hack or a mod or do a walk through walls thing. And then at that point I thought, look, I better reward people if they're going to hack the game and do a walk through walls. Let them have $1,000. Let them, you know. But that would explain it. I never use middle click. My last mouse broke with the middle click too. Yeah, you get it. So I think, yeah, I think the middle clicks really, they're just not that tough. There we go. That looks nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to break our visual line. I'm just looking for a couple more bald spots in here. I just want to even that out. Fill in that bald spot. Or I'll be tempted to put a treasure in there. I'm letting you guys know about my inner psyche. Those are the things that I think about when I'm making games. Fill that in. So we're going to exit out of that, and we're going to switch to our grass. So now we'll just start placing some grass. So I'm actually using a little bit of a trick here. Is I'm using very low resolution on the detail. The detail resolution is how you define the placement of your grass and your other objects. 512 is very low, but that's because I'm also bringing this game to PS Vita. And the lower these numbers are, the better the performance will be on the Vita. So that's why every single decision I make when it comes to this is because I've planned for bringing this to other older platforms. So opacity here. So we're just going to run through this, and we're going to drop in some grass. We're going to break that visual line. We see a visual line between the grass and the terrain. Is the music okay? Is it too loud or too quiet? Please let me know. Hey James, wow, I really appreciate that. Thanks very much for that. Just popping in to say thanks for all the entertainment. Have a great day. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. You know, for my YouTube videos, I've been buying a lot of props and costume parts, and it's not just, you know, oh, I need a prop to do a video. I don't need props to do videos, but if I have props, it lets me come up with ideas on the spot. It lets me just I've worked in theater a fair bit in the past, and so you learn to improvise and perform on stage, and there are exercises where you're handed props. And so that's why I really love just buying dumb stuff on AliExpress, because they have dumb stuff. And I'm doing that because I know that, look, if I have a little bit of time and I need to make a video that's just fun and entertaining, I'll pick up a random prop, and then I'll think of something stupid, and I'll come up with funny jokes, and I'll just make a video about it. So that's why I've been getting props. So I really appreciate you contributing like that, because I do try to buy as many, not as many, but like I'll spend time looking for stupid props on AliExpress. Look, let's just go to AliExpress right now. Obviously, I'm not sponsored. Again, I'm talking about AliExpress because you just find the weirdest dumb stuff from there. Let's just go through it, and then we'll see what dumb thing we can find. Hey man, how do you feel about AI as a fellow animator? It sucks. It sucks because it is going to come in more into play, and it's going to be misused. There are so many great ways that we could use AI ethically and morally and artistically. There are ways where it will help, but it's going to be used the wrong way, and it's going to put artists at risk, because corporate greed will say, look, we can fire someone and just get anyone can use AI to generate something, and that's a big problem. But for things like science and technology, for the medical field, for engineering, architecture, aeronautics, astronomics, aerobics. Maybe not that one, but AI is going to be very useful for those things. The problem is when people use generative AI to replace humans, and that's a big issue. And I don't know what we can do about it. It is going to happen, and I don't know what to do about it. And it sucks. What is that? That can't be real. That's like, we're talking about AI generated, and that looks AI generated. What dumb props? I get a lot of cool badges or cool pins from AliExpress. That's not good. I wouldn't wear that. Hey guys, you got this cool Game & Watch pin. Creepy contacts? Check those out. I have a pair of these. I'm saving these. I did buy a pair of these funky things. I buy props and then I set them aside in my prop room, and then I wait for a moment where I'm writing a script and I think, okay, there's room in this script. I have some props that fit that. I have a costume piece that fits the script. Yeah, so that's basically what I think of why I buy these weird looking things. I'm gonna pick up some of these weird. I'm picking up one of these because I know that I can use this for a funny video. So when you guys see me wearing this in a future video that's just funny, you'll know where I got it from. So, best wishes from Brazil. Teach. Hey, it's good to see you. A very close friend of mine, he's a good friend, he's in Brazil, and he's like a quadruple majors in music. He's brilliant. Yeah, you get some weird, like, what are these? You know, what is that? Looks like the Apple VR thing. Yeah, John Hunter's right. I love you're getting recommended a lot of portable game consoles. Well, I'm constantly scrolling through them. Right now I'm preparing to do a bunch of reviews. They're all interesting, but some of them are very bad value for money. So I want to do reviews on the retro consoles so I can make recommendations to you guys, so I can point out the ones that are good value for money and the ones that are not. Because there are some that are kind of expensive, and then they're really bad. And then there's some that are quite cheap, and they're extremely good. So those are the ones that I want to find so I can recommend them. So here we go. We're sort of breaking up the line. You see that line we have between the trees and the ground? But also there isn't enough variety in terms of the color as well. So our shape now has variety to it. So I'm just placing some of this grass, and then I'm going to use a different color in just a moment here. So we're going to do a little bit of that, and then we're going to switch over to this color here. Now, for some reason, Unity is just being, like, weird with me, right? I don't want that to be green, man. Look at what I've said here. Listen to me, to what I've said. And Unity's being weird, but you just got to get used to it, and then sometimes it'll just decide to work. Okay, cool. So now we have a little bit more of this brown grass, and that'll help us now break up the color that we're seeing here. So we're going to use some of this grass, and we're just going to find areas where you have a visual line and break the line. And that's my design philosophy. That's how you can just get things to look interesting. And we can also use little details like this. I have a little bit of purple to use. Ah, look at that. Just a little bit of happy flowers here. Really break that up. I try to make the area look denser in terms of the ground cover the farther you go in, because obviously it's, you know, there's less traversal there, so it would be denser with all of that. Now with this particular game, this is Silver Falls Undertakers remake. I purposefully don't use red flowers or any kind of red foliage or red trees, and the reason being is that the use of blood in this game is very important, and it's quite shocking and stark when you see it. And I need to make sure that the player is not desensitized to the color red as they're exploring environments. So that is a consideration I make as an artist, is make sure you don't use any red flowers, make sure there's no trees that look red. Everything needs to be different enough from red so that when red does show up in the environment, when there's gore or blood, then it's very noticeable and you notice it a lot. Hey, Kane, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hatham, hey, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you. I'll buy a dumb prop and I'll make some funny videos. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate that. Getting all Bob Ross now, yes. Soldier game was a collective imaginary madness. Here's the thing, if he attempted the Soldier game these days, like back then, handheld retro consoles were really awful when he attempted the Soldier Boy. If he were to do it now, it would actually be a success, because the consoles these days are very powerful and they're really cheap. Look, I'll bring one up. Again, I'm not sponsored. I just like AliExpress because you can find really dumb props here. The come on, I'm typing, man. R36. I'm typing. R36S. Handheld. They call this the Budget King because it's quite, and this is Australian dollars. If this was US dollars, it would be, you know, these are generally around $40 to $45. But the R36S is the king of the handheld budgets because it's very powerful. I've ordered one and I'm waiting for it, so I can't talk about it directly. But there's one they say is better now. The Battle... They spell battle wrong, it's fine. You just deal with it. The Battle X PG350, and again, this is Australian dollars, so let's just go, you know. You can usually find it for like 65 Australian or something, 65 USD. $39. Yeah, look, you'll find this one for $39. Sometimes you see it for like $30. It's insane how powerful this thing is. There's a bunch of different colors. If you don't like pink, there's other options. I picked pink because it's really cool. This thing plays Dreamcast, and I played Sonic Adventure 2, Crazy Taxi, Soul Calibur, and it was smooth, and I was thinking, there's no way. This thing is so cheap. All of the buttons and the triggers are very comfortable, and it plays Dreamcast. Sega Saturn. Someone asked me about Sega Saturn. This played Sega Saturn great. I played Nights into Dreams on it. Excellent frame rate. So yeah, for like 35 US bucks, free shipping, this is ridiculous how good this is. And that's why I want to do reviews on these, so that you can find one that fits your needs. Some people have a problem with vertical handhelds. It's just not that comfortable. For me personally, I find I have to interlace my fingers on some of them, and it's not very comfortable. So I prefer the horizontal consoles. But yeah, I will be doing regular videos on these. I think they're cool and fun. Just searching quickly on Amazon, I see it for $58. Nice, nice. Keep an eye out though. Like, my recommendation is wait, because they do often go on sale. So, you know, I'd say don't buy it because you're excited to get one. I'd say wait a little bit, because suddenly you'll see it for like $10 cheaper one day because they're doing a sale. So keep an eye on it. They do have sales pretty often. See, the way I do this, I try to place the ground cover, and then after that, I sort of erase it and open up a little bit. And again, when it comes to gaming, game development, and any art, painting, drawing, tagging, it's about guiding the viewer through the experience. You're guiding the player through the environment. So I'm going to open up the entrance here by erasing some of the grass just so that it is clear to the player. Hey, you should go in here, man. You should see if there's any good stuff in here. So that's what I'm doing. You see, I'm sort of built a shape here. It's like a funnel. It's a visual funnel that lets the player know you can go in there. Go in there. Just go in a little bit, see what's in there. That'd be nice. So in this game, there's going to be a ton of environments like that where you go in and you get weapon level up items. The way you level up your different weapons in this game is through items. You get upgrade items or level up items. So you have to go through these. I'm in my mind, I'm considering these as dungeons. There are no separate dungeons in this. There's basically these forest groves, and I want it to feel different from a game. I'm always trying to find ways to make my games feel different in some way, because we all expect games to function a certain way. We all have expectations. We see a hole in a mountainside, we think, I'll go in there, it's a cave. And I'm personally always looking for ways where I think, how can I do something that isn't that? It's different from what we already expect. And sometimes it results in an interesting experience, and sometimes it results in a confusing experience that people don't click with. And to me, that's exciting. That's so fun to experiment with different ideas like that. Look, sometimes I'll do an idea and people will DM me and they'll say, dude, I don't really get this. And I think, all right, okay, I should have done a better job conveying what this concept was. And then sometimes I'll just get a flood of DMs from people. All of a sudden they're like, oh my god, dude, I love this thing that you did. And to me, that's so worth it. It's so worth taking the risk, and it's really exciting when that happens. Hey, Derek, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks so much for that. Surprise gamers. That's it. That's what I like as a gamer. There needs to be a balance. Like, you need to balance out giving the player enough of what you expect, right? We go into game genres, we expect things to work a certain way, but we don't want things to be too similar, and that's the challenge. And it's fun. It's a fun challenge. Sometimes it pays off, and sometimes it doesn't. But I think it's worth taking the risk. All right. I think these are supposed to be yellow, but they just didn't turn out. I'm not happy with. Here's the thing. See how yellow those are? Because of the moonlight, I know the entire game is in moonlight. It casts a hue onto everything. And so I need to take that into consideration. I need to understand, I know that these flowers are yellow. I made these flowers obviously yellow, but because of the moonlight, you have to understand the context in which the visual asset will be represented. It's not yellow enough. So now what I have to do, now I have to manually just make this more yellow because it's not yellow enough. So I'm going to go ahead and bust this open. Let's open my very old version of Photoshop. Switches, I really appreciate that. Thank you. I support your vision. I really appreciate that. And this does really help. It makes a big difference to me. I always wanted to be able to just hang out with people and talk while making games. And, you know, for a while I thought, like, I don't know how I'm supposed to do that. I don't know how I'm supposed to sort of reach people. But this is basically like a dream come true, like what we're doing right now. Like, we're hanging out, we're talking about whatever we want. You know, we could talk about whatever and make games and just hang out. And that's, I mean, it's a dream come true. This is literally just a dream come true, and it's fun. So this is the color of the stem and the leaves. That is the center of the flower. What I'm basically going to do is I'm just going to select this guy. I know that this is the color of the petal. What I'm going to do is just going to crank that saturation right up and see it's not making that much of a difference. I'm going to go to B. I'm going to control B that. Try to make that more yellow. I need to find a hue that's going to be more obvious. See, red is the opposite of blue. I think if I crank up the red level on that and then I darken it a little bit, that's probably going to result in looking more yellow. You see how... So here's how it looked before. In a normal game environment, this is the yellow that I would pick, but because I know the context in which we are presenting the color, we do need to adjust that. So has anyone watched WandaVision? Because what I found so interesting about WandaVision, the director was talking about WandaVision, and they said that Vision's face paint and his prosthetics actually had to be blue for the black and white scenes, the black and white episodes, because when they filmed Vision with his sort of purple color, it didn't look right. It looked totally wrong. And that is the same situation here, where they colored Vision blue because the way that it looks in black and white looks correct. Ah, guys, look at this. Now that looks correct. If we were to turn that off, I would say, for me personally, that's too vibrant in other lighting situations. But now that we turn back our moonlight, it looks right. VetMGB, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate that. You know, I've been thinking of you. You know, you have your things with your family, you know, going on. I've just been thinking of you, and I really feel for you. You know, and you know, we have some things in common that way. You know, and I just hope that you're hanging in there, man, and you've got a good support system for you. I saw the video you're talking about. You change your avatar, and I had to consider it. I thought, you know, that's really interesting. You see people online that criticize other people for, say, like, oh, why does that guy have a female video game character? Why does that guy have a female avatar? It's like, female characters are cool, so I don't know what you're complaining about. In any Resident Evil game, I generally, any opportunity I can, I pick the female characters because they're cool. It doesn't mean I want to be a chick. It means that chick is awesome, and I kind of feel like I'm hanging out with that character when I play as them in a video game. So I super don't understand when people sort of say, you know, why are you playing as a girl? What's the deal with that? Girls are cool? You don't... I don't know. Hey, Dragon's Neck, I really appreciate that. Thank you. I love your vids. Plus, check me out. Let's make game great. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Um, See, and there are automated ways to do this. You know, when you're working in mass environments, often people will use procedural generation to generate mass stuff, and that's if you need a game that's, you know, big. But this is a situation where using automated generation, like we would call it AI these days, we'd say, oh yeah, AI, it's just procedural generation that automatically populates the data for you. In this game, I want everything to be a very specific way, so this is all going to be done by hand. It's all very bespoke. And bespoke is a fancy word that I learned a few years ago, and I can't stop using it because it's stuck in my head. I was watching an antique show. I enjoy antiquing. I like watching the antiques. And they started using the word bespoke, and I had to look it up because I didn't know what it meant. And it sounds cool. So it's one of my favorite words. It's just fun to say too. You can have Hit Girl, your profile just not Hit Girl. Do you mean what? Am I thinking of the right character? I'm not super familiar. Yes, I am thinking of the right character. These two movies were so funny. Oh man, I could watch them. I could watch them right now, and I would just laugh my ass off. More vibrant, the more it's in front, right? I desaturate if it's meant to be less noticed. That's right. So Signum Somnia makes a very good point. Things that are closer to the camera or things that you want to be in focus, you make them more saturated. And in general, when you want things to be less in focus, you desaturate them. This is why we use distance fog to make things look more desaturated. Look, I'm just going to put a little bit of color here to catch the player's attention. And I'll say, go in here and take a look. Just take a quick look. You know it's going to feel really good? I'm going to do something super satisfying right now. Hold on. I'm just going to snap on over here. What is this? What do we got? This is a handgun upgrade. This is a handgun upgrade. Hold on. This is going to feel really good putting this in here. This is what I love. This, I'm not exaggerating when I say this is what I live for, because there's a lot of things that I live for. I kind of live for picking up items, especially if they're upgrade items. You guys know what I mean, right? You pick it up. It makes your character or your weapon permanently stronger. It's a good feeling. Obviously, it's not going to have this many in the game. I'm just putting it in here because it's fun. I'm going to put it in there. Let's drop an enemy generator in here now, and I'll show you how enemy generation works in my games. So we walked through this area earlier, so you guys were here with me. We walked through there. Again, sorry if I'm having a tough time keeping up with the chat here. So we have... I need to make sure I give myself a handgun, so I don't have the handgun yet. So I just need to grab it. I have the handgun over here. What is this? What's in here? So these are my events, and I'm just going to see what I've put in here. Event instructions, and the item pickup is the handgun. So yeah, we're just going to duplicate that. I should change the name as well. I'll do it later. So at the start, I call this, you know, I basically call this like it's a dungeon. It's this game's equivalent of a dungeon. Put the handgun in here, but we also need to get a melee weapon. So I'm just going to look through my list. I'll give myself... golf club. Golf club. I just need one of those. Okay. So I need to grab my enemy generator that I already have. I have some sitting here. So how this works, I call this an enemy spawn point. So I'll explain the logic here. So there's an intermittent spawn time. It's going to attempt to spawn an enemy every 2 seconds. But then if it spawns an enemy successfully, then it has to wait an extra 30 seconds on top of the 2 seconds before it can spawn another enemy. The range indicator is the distance point, so the player has to be within distance. So you see where this distance point is? The player has to be closer to this red point than the purple point. If the player is... You can basically imagine this as a circle. If I drag that distance point out, it means that that circle increases. If the player is within range, then every 2 seconds it's going to attempt to spawn an enemy. The minimum and maximum distance, they get changed based on where that distance point is. I also specify the enemy reserve, so this spawn point only has 3 enemies. After it spawns 3 enemies, it can't spawn anymore, except after 320 seconds. After 320 seconds, it resets the spawn reserves. So this allows the player to come back, and if the player... I do this because you need to give incremental progress to the player. Incremental progress means you let them kind of permanently, temporarily clear an area of enemies, right? So the player defeats 3 enemies in this area, and there won't be any more areas, so it feels like they've made progress, right? They think, I've defeated the enemies, this area is good for now, but you need to consider, what if the player wants to grind? What if the player wants to just get weapons or ammo or experience points? You need to make those considerations. So that's why I have time to reset the reserves. So in this case, it's 320 seconds. I can change it to whatever I want. Let's go ahead and duplicate this enemy spawn point, and we're going to bring it into this area here. And we're going to watch it function. So we bring this in. This is the middle of the spawn point. So once the player enters, you know, I call this a dungeon, but they're really forest groves. So this is the point at which the enemy will actually appear from. Let's go ahead and stick that right over here. This is where the enemy will actually appear, and this is the distance point. So as long as the player is within that range, right? So we could put it anywhere. We can put it here. So if the player is closer to this point than that, then the enemy will be able to spawn. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll make a second one as well. We'll put a second one here. Put that distance point here. So there's a safe zone in there. And then the spawn point where the enemy will actually appear from can be up here. And you know what? Let's make this one a little more dangerous. 4. And the spawn count per step, 2 enemies. It'll spawn 2 enemies. We'll go ahead and duplicate that and then bring that right on down through here, this last area. Again, the distance point is right there. We'll bring that spawn point down, and the enemies will spawn here. And put another spawn point here. We'll do 2 enemies. Again, the actual spawn point will be right here, and the distant point will be right here. I'll be right here. I rewatched E.T. the other day, like a month ago, and I was worried that I wasn't going to like it as much as I did a long time ago. I haven't seen it in like 25 years. Has anyone seen E.T. recently? Has anyone watched it? Do enemies spawn from the trees? They can spawn from wherever they want. Anywhere I put this point, the enemies will spawn. Do you have an artist, or do you do the programming and art yourself? I do everything myself. All the programming and art. Sometimes I will buy assets from artists that specialize. Say, for example, in my more realistic looking games where you have to have photorealistic foliage, I buy those from artists who specialize in that, because I'm not very good at making hyper-realistic foliage, and if I were to do it, it would take me a very long time. So that's where I'll buy it from artists that have already made it. Yes, this is Unity 5, and I use Unity 5 because it's way faster. Once my game is basically finished, then I move it across to the new versions of Unity. So we have a couple enemies in here, and I just want to give myself an upgrade ahead of time because I want these enemies to die. I want them to die fast, so I'll put an upgrade there, and I'm just going to increase my ammunition, actually. I don't want to get killed in this forest. I'm going to give myself 600. Ooh, I can give myself all the ammunition I want. All right, I'm going to be testing with my GameCube controller. This is the Legend of Zelda themed GameCube controller here. Let's go ahead and maximize this. Okay, so we'll pick that up. I got my golf club, got my handgun times 600, and I got my weapon level up. There's a magazine about handgun skills here. Handgun level up. Okay, so I'm going to equip my handgun and equip my golf club. I got my golf club, and I got my... Oh, hold on. So I'm using a shader where the shadows do not work on the terrain, so I will no longer... I'm disabling the terrain from being drawn. See, the terrain is no longer being drawn. Then I'm going to enable this plane, which I'll paint on later. And this can receive shadows. There we go. All right. Now we'll see our enemy spawn points activate. If we're within range, the enemy should spawn it at any point. I'm not sure where it is. We're going to find out in a second. Actually, let's go ahead and view the world as well here, just to make sure everything's working all right. Did I leave the spawn point before the enemy had a chance to spawn? So you see, right now we're within range. See that? Oh, did I mess it up? There's the enemy now. Okay. There he is. We got. You know what happened? I think I didn't have this enabled, and I think he fell through the terrain. Oop, no. So in this game, you can lock yourself to a direction by holding the L button. You can lock the direction, so you can have free movement. Specifically, what I wanted with this game, I didn't want your mobility tied to your combat actions. So when you have end lag on your weapons, they don't affect your movement. You constantly have full control of your movement, because I wanted an experience that felt really just fluid and satisfying to control. You can see that I can really smoothly, combo between my melee and my ranged weapons. And you can handle a lot of enemies coming at you from different directions because you have all of that full range of movement. There's going to be other items as well, like traps, so that you can use defensively. Please die, please die. I'm aiming the wrong way. Oh, man. I should have put some health items here for me as well, so you guys see how it's functioning. Yeah. Let's go ahead and maximize this. Going back is just as fast as going forward, so that way you can deal with combat situations like this. I had to make a decision, realistically. It would be realistic if the character moved slower going backward, right? So you have to make a decision. Do you want the player to feel more powerful, or do you want the player to feel depowered a little bit? In this situation, I wanted the player to just have this really fluid, free range of motion. I've already done so many games where mechanically the players feel depowered, because I wanted to increase the sense of horror. But the horror in this game comes from different aspects, and I didn't want the mechanics to be used to make the player feel weaker. There's already different aspects that play into that. So I'm just going to rely on my gun now. So if I open my menu, you'll see that there's a number 4 there, and that number 4 is the level of the weapon. These aren't the icons, these are placeholder icons. But the number 4 there indicates the level of the handgun. Those boxes I've been picking up have been leveling up my handgun. I'll use just the handgun on the next enemy, and we'll see how fast I can kill it. You can see earlier it was... So in this game, the weapons start out pretty weak. Like, it takes a long time to kill enemies. You're meant to explore as many of these little forest groves as you can, because these forest groves... Look how fast I killed them. So a level 4 handgun is way stronger than a level 1. That's the whole point of I want people to feel like they're growing and progressing, so that it feels like you put yourself in danger. You've gone into this dangerous forest grove, but as a reward, you are now stronger for it. You got permanent weapon proficiency upgrades, and then that'll make certain areas of the game obviously easier. So to me, that's such a rewarding and fun, logical implementation of growth and empowerment for a game. That's the kind of thing that I like as a gamer. Signum Somnia, hey, I appreciate that, thank you. My name is my website, Full-Time Artist. If I could do any small amount of work for you, that would be amazing. I'll look that up. Your name is your website, Signum Somnia. I'll look that up and I'll have a look later. Thank you for that, I really appreciate that. Is this something you are building? Yes, this is going to be my upcoming game. This is Silver Falls Undertakers. So. Hey, John Walker Flynn, good to see you. This is too scary. Is there an option to put the contrast? I like the twin stick shooter. This reminds me of Hunter. Oh, Grant Choites, a Hunter the Reckoning fan. I don't think any of my friends in real life have ever played Hunter games. I was obsessed with Hunter the Reckoning. Oh man, I love Hunter the Reckoning. Right here, right here. Lol, that moonwalk, yeah. So yeah, you have your total full free range of movement there. So we'll see. I'll walk back out of this sort of forest grove. We'll see if the enemies respawn now. Yeah. Oh man, being able to have multiple people play, oh, that's so great. I played it when I was a teenager, obviously, when the games came out, and I lived in the States back then, so I played Hunter there, but I never, after I moved to Australia, I never had the Hunter games. I'm out of ammo. Did I use all of that ammo? Oh man. Yeah. Obviously, in the full game, it's just going to be satisfying having a ton of different combat options, having a bunch of different. There aren't just ranged and melee weapons. There are also trap items as well, like bear traps and campfires that you can use as part of your combat. Just something really fun. There isn't going to be jumping in the game, but right now I do have a jump button because this framework that I've built is going to be used for a bunch of my future games, and they're all going to be obviously, different, but they're going to use this framework. But this is one where the jumping doesn't get in the way of your combat mechanics or mobility, so you can attack freely and jump. Like you can attack and jump, and it doesn't interfere with it. It just feels really fluid, So yeah, there's that. What are you playing? Hey, Lunar Knight, it's good to see you. This is the remake for Undertakers that I'm working on. This game looks fun. Hey, thanks. Oh god, I'm gonna die. You're gonna get me. Ah. I love dithering. This is it. I've been wanting to use this art style for a game for a while, and I've just been looking for the right project. And then I thought, yeah, this is it. Reminds me of Silent Hill 1. So I want to tell you the story of the first time I played Silent Hill 1. I borrowed 2 PlayStation games from my sister's boyfriend at the time. Those 2 games were Bust a Groove and Silent Hill. I'd never heard of either of those games before. So I get to my bed. I do my homework, obviously. I'm a good lad. I do my homework first. And then I'm gonna watch Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, Outlaw Star, and Cowboy Bebop first. And Scooby-Doo was on before that, so I watch those first, I do my homework, and then I get to play PlayStation. And so I thought that it's dark, it's like 10 o'clock now, it's dark, it's winter, and I thought that I grabbed the disc for Bust a Groove. It's a dancing game, and again, I'd never played either of those games before, so I grabbed Bust a Groove, put it into the PlayStation, and I have the TV, the CRT TV is sitting on my dresser, and then the PlayStation is between that, and then I get into bed, and I pull the covers up, and it's pitch black, there's no lights on in my room, totally pitch black, and I think at this point I'm alone at home. For some reason the rest of my family was out somewhere. So I'm home alone, in a pitch black room, and I'm thinking, cool, I'm gonna play this cool, I think it's a dancing game, it's a rhythm game. It turns on, and the Konami logo comes up, and then the opening sequence for Silent Hill plays. And I've never seen it before, and I think, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. This music rocks, these mountain roads are so creepy. And then the game starts up, and I'm thinking, shit, this is like Resident Evil, isn't it? I love Resident Evil. And it gets to the little alleyway, and all of a sudden, the siren blares, and the lights turn off, and it's pitch black, and then you've got the little lighter, and the music plays. You know the music, what I'm talking about, right? And then I'm thinking, uh-oh, this isn't... I'm not ready for this. I wanted a fun rhythm game, and then I'm walking down the alleyway, the camera's spinning overhead, and you have this creepy industrial music, and I've never heard anything like it before. I'd never seen a game like it before. All of a sudden, there's this torso that's stretched out, and there's guts that are pulled out everywhere, stretched along this barbed wire fence, and then you hear this warped, childish giggling, and then these little monsters come out of nowhere with knives. And at that point, I put the controller down, and I think I put the covers over... I'm a teenager, right? I'm still a kid. I put the cover over my head, and I thought, I can't get out of bed to turn this off. I cannot. I can't. This is too much. And that was my first experience with Silent Hill, and I've been trying to recreate that kind of excitement when it comes to the horror in my games. And it's not, to me, it's not a matter of, oh, I want to copy that. I want to do the same thing. I want to do something new, but I want to share that feeling, that same feeling of excitement with people. So that's something that I focus on when it comes to my horror games is how do I share that kind of excitement with people? How do I, pardon my French, how do I fuck people up for the rest of their lives, you know? That's, you know, because that moment stuck with me in a good way. Would you ever make a Discord? We do have a Discord. I don't know. I don't have the link off the top of my head. We do have a Discord. I'm not sure what it is. In the next video, in my next upload, I'll put a link to the Discord. I'll go and find it. Silent Hill Memories. Yeah, that's it. Sounds about right, feeling any. Cryonet, a Discord link in the description. Is it? I can't wait to check out your games. Yeah, you know, guys, I have a bunch of free games available just on Homebrew because I love making games for older platforms. So, like Galaxy Bound Curse, I'll just bring that up really quick. I think the link to this might be in the description. And I'll put it in the chat. I once thought I am haunted because of Silent Hill. I know the feeling. But I just love that feeling of excitement, that just terror, that I could not get out of my bed to go and turn off the PlayStation. Eventually I did. Like, after the things killed me, like the monsters killed me, and then, you know, it went to the game over screen. After that, you know, after a while, I was able to get out of bed, turn the PlayStation on, or turn it off. At that point, I think I did swap it out for Busted Groove, because I needed something else. I needed to not be horrified. Well, you downloaded the GB one, but haven't got to it yet. So that's the soundtrack for my Switch game. This is something I'm working on improving, that Silver Falls for the PS Vita. I will be improving that. I'm finding ways to optimize. This was that's funny. That's hilarious. That's for the DS. But if you scroll down, Galaxy Bound Curse is a massive game. This is huge. It's for the Game Boy Color, but you can play it on Game Boy as well. It's kind of like a Legend of Zelda style game. It's an action adventure, but there's a bunch of different playable characters. You can have one partner character and recruit one animal. There's a bunch of wild animals you can recruit. So you can have a party of 3. They have different weapons and skills. You can upgrade your character's clothes and their weapons. You can collect materials. This guy will upgrade them for you. Whatever you want. Bring me your stupid weapons. And it's got a... Just the lore is so dense, and the vibe is really, it's just so thick and heavy, and it feels like you're in this world where basically this is set in the late 90s. A guy just had his first son born, so these people are at a bar and they're all hanging out and partying, and then someone comes in and says, hey, I was babysitting a kid and he just got kidnapped and I need help finding the kid that got kidnapped. So now you're playing as a town full of people who are drunk at this point. It's late at night, they're drunk, they've been partying, and now they need to wander out into the forest to try and find this kid that got kidnapped. And that's Silver Falls Galaxy Bound Curse. And a lot of people have told me that they loved this game so much. It was their first one, and then they went and then they got into my other games in the series. But a lot of people tell me this is their favorite one. I am working on a remake for Galaxy Bound Curse, and it will be using this framework. So the gameplay style will be similar, but it won't be exactly the same, but the gameplay style will be similar. So I am doing a remake for this, and it will be on Switch. So yeah, again, I mean, this is something I'm so proud of. So please enjoy that. There's the weak point in Galaxy Bound Curse, and it's important to talk about things like, it's not fair to say, oh, everything I do is perfect, everything I do is great, and I'm the best in the world. There are things about this that I would like to improve when I have time. The weakest point is the soundtrack. And the reason that is because this was my first time programming music for the Game Boy hardware. You don't compose music the way that you do with other platforms. Like when I'm making modern games, I just compose music and I perform it. But with this, you have to program it. And the layout that you use is so weird. It's not how it looks for music. You're literally programming. and I really struggled with it. It was something that it took me a while to get used to. So the soundtrack to this is quite weak, and it's something that I would like to improve when I have more time, because I ended up doing a full soundtrack for my one of my Switch games is Ghoul Busters, and I programmed the soundtrack for Ghoul Busters on the Game Boy. So Ghoul Busters, you can play it on the 3DS. If you want to find the ROM online, feel free to play it unofficially. If you can find the ROM, you can play it on the 3DS for free. You know, use an emulator, put it on your 3DS. I'm cool with it, baby. And if you want to play it on the Switch, it's very much the same experience as on the 3DS, just better frame rate. But the soundtrack for Ghoul Busters I programmed on the Game Boy, and it sucked because it was difficult. But I wanted that authenticity to the Game Boy music because I was trying to evoke that feeling. I wanted people to feel like they were playing a Game Boy game. So yeah. Hey everybody, have a wonderful day. Singam Sami, I'll check out your website. Thanks for hanging out. It was good to see you. Lunar Knights, your games are not perfect, but they have so much to build on that intriguing me. I love 3DS, Three Down Stars. That game got me hooked in the Silver Falls. Like, I really appreciate that, Lunar Knights. Lunar Knights has been supporting me basically since day one, and this is what I really appreciate. You know, Lunar Knights enjoys the games, and I love when people DM me and they tell me that they're at a certain part of the game. But like, Lunar Knights will tell me when there's something that isn't right about the games. Like, he'll say like, hey, this is, you know, this part's kind of broken, this part's flawed, and that's important to me because that means that I can go and fix it and improve it. And so not only am I fixing that game, but then I can think about it for my future games. So now my future games are going to be better. And this is why it's so important. You know, you put in the effort to listen to people and to stay in contact. And I don't like using the word friend because I think that's very manipulative because we don't know each other in real life, and friend is something that's very personal. But it's, you know, I think of you guys as like workmates. Yes, you know, like, you're here, we get to talk about games, and you know, I think it's more respectful if I think of you guys as workmates. And I don't call people friends online because I think that's very manipulative. So that's my stance on it. What type of engine do you work with for these types of games? This is Unity, but I also use other game engines. So very quickly, I actually am going to start doing this more often where I'll show you other engines, but I will show you DS Game Maker. If you want to make DS games, you can do this right now. You don't need programming experience. You don't need any game development experience. You can start doing this right now. You can make a DS game today. It may not be great, but it will be a functional game. I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. You download this and you can make your games for the DS. You can put it on a flash cartridge and play it on real hardware. You can play it on an emulator. There are guides for this online. So what I'm going to do for the foreseeable future, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make little templates. I'll make a little game that's going to be a little template, and then I'll put the source project on Patreon so that if people want to use that template and then learn from it and then build it into their own full game, then they'll be able to do that. So that's something I've planned, and I'll be doing that going forward. And it's a way for me to help people get started, but also a way for you guys to make games on consoles. You get to feel the excitement that I feel when I put a new game on an old console. So I'll be doing that for a while. How do you feel about Unity? Have you used dots yet? I don't really like dots. My feelings on Unity are mixed. There's so much bad, but there's so much good. And with anything in life, you have to accept the bad with the good. You have to choose for yourself whether, you know, the negatives outweigh the positives, or if the positives outweigh the negatives. For me personally, the positives of Unity outweigh the negatives. So I use Unity, and I do recommend it to people, but only after they've used other game engines that are easier to learn on, because Unity is difficult to learn on. Unity has it's very steep when it comes to learning requirements, and it discourages a lot of people. I've listened to a lot of people. I am accredited to teach, so I do have qualifications for that, and it's important for me to listen to people who are in a position where they are learning. And Unity is a product that is just not good for learning. It's not good for teaching. You need to learn to develop in a different environment first. So yeah, if you want to make DS games, go ahead and check out that link. Okay, so I'm going to populate more of this world. Turn off the light. That's well, that helps us a little bit actually. So again, I've blocked out this area so I know which areas will be traversable and which won't. And I wonder what the poly count is on this guy here. I'm going to be drinking my Powerade. Did anyone watch Tenchi Muyo in the early 2000s? And does anyone understand the connection between... Sometimes... I don't know why, but sometimes I'll just like stop and I'll think, what the hell? Why were there so many versions of Tenchi Muyo? I didn't understand the... Does anyone get it? Raphael, you get it? I'm a fan of the anime and I have the collection. Nice! Nice. So can you guys explain, like... Is it... Please... I'm sorry. My brain stopped functioning because I can't process Tenchi Muyo. Why were there so many different versions, and is there any continuity between them, or are they totally just like... Is it a reboot every single time? Kane, hey, dang, Jerrel's comment section is always so heartwarming and friendly. I like hanging out with cool people, and that's why I like trying to make fun videos for people, and I make an effort of responding and hanging out. And these live streams are cool. It's fun. I can get work done. We can hang out. Blast from the past. I used little engines for VN, Habak, SK Radiant, CryEngine, Unity Blender. Those are interesting. You ended up in Unreal Engine. I think a lot of people find that Unreal Engine just fits the way that they think, because we all process information in different ways, and we all conceptualize information in different ways, and sometimes you find a program that just fits your brain. And my brain did not originally, like, Unity did not originally fit my brain, and I mean this, like, pardon my French, but Unity fucked up my brain so that my brain could use Unity. So that's just how it is. Have you used GameMaker? I've used a ton of GameMaker. If you want to make your own PSP games, you can use GameMaker. I just, yeah. I actually just launched a new PSP homebrew game. It's not a huge one. It's on my itch.io. It's free. You can put it on PSP. There's a weird issue with the font. I've never had this issue with PSP games before, and I've spent a couple hours today trying to fix it, but the font is sort of like messed up in this game, so I might have to like redo the game with just a brand new project because the font is jacked up. But this is called 4 Hours of Watching Paint Dry. Please feel free to download this and have some fun. You can play it on a real PSP or an emulator. You basically are speed running watching paint dry for 4 hours. And you have to try to get points. There's things that you get points, things can deduct from your points. But the thing is, there's distractions. You can perform distractions, and distractions affect your stats, but distractions cause time to pass. I used GameMaker to make this, and then I used a program that converts the game into a PSP game. So you can do that, and I do have the source project available on Patreon, so if you want to edit this game and turn it into your own game, or if you just want to learn from it, it's available on the Patreon as well. So there you go. I hope people try it and have fun. I think it's just funny. 401k. Well, yeah, that's one of your stats. So here's the thing, right? You can get divorced if you sign... I'll let you guys know, this is some pro strats right here. If you sign the divorce papers, it actually reduces your 401k. So you start out with 287,845. If you sign the divorce papers, you lose like 30% of that. It affects your score if you sign the divorce papers. So, yeah, it's free. Have fun. Have fun. I hope you guys try it. I was trying to learn to mode Emu VR last year that uses Unity. Okay. The light mode and UI gave me headache. Bummer. Rempy, it's a cute little game engine for... Rempy? What is Rempy? It's cute little... Visual novels. Yeah, I think visual novels is a really cool genre, and it's something where you don't have to worry about, you know, like, frame data and hitboxes and having huge inventories. I think a visual novel, if you make a visual novel as your first game, it's an excellent learning experience because you learn the process of taking something from your mind and turning it into a functional product. And that's what's so important when you're learning game development. So you see how we have a line here. My visual philosophy, my visual design philosophy is breaking the line. And there's just this really ugly, flat, straight line here. So I need to go in manually by hand, you know, and just add trees to that so I can break the visual line. It breaks up the monotony. It helps things more interesting to look at. And it just makes it more interesting, you know? There we go. We just break that line a little bit. We're breaking the line, everybody. This is an area that's, you know, dead trees, and it's very unpleasant to look at. But it can still, things that are scary, things that are bad can be beautiful in their own way. So we're going to go through this, and we're going to break that line. Breaking visual line. We're breaking up the monotony. This area is going to be quite creepy. There we go. See how it feels more natural now? Just breaking up that line a little bit. Now it looks more natural, you see? You can purposefully leave the visual line there. And you can do that if you want the player to feel uncomfortable in a way. If you want things to look less natural, if you want things to look manufactured and artificial, that is a feeling that you can elicit from people by purposefully making things look like that. By leaving that visual line there, you can make the player feel like something's wrong, like this is not natural, things should not be this way. It's kind of like how we talk about liminal spaces. Something feels off, something doesn't feel right. And that's up to you. That's your choice as an artist to consider that. Your job as an artist is to basically share a feeling with other people. So you need to understand that feeling, and you need to decide what you're going to share in terms of the feeling. See, I'll have to go through this all later on as well. So what we're going to do, let's just go ahead. This says Rocky Boulder area. Archangel, hey, I thank you, really thank you for that. Thank you for the good vibes today. Learned a bit more. Yeah, I hope if I can share anything with you, I hope it can be useful to you. So I had a Rocky Boulder area here. Yeah, thank you for that. Denny, I appreciate you, my man. You're a beacon of light in a very murky world. Keep up all that positivity. I really appreciate that, but I think it's really, it's all of you that are being positive and being here. Like, I don't believe that any one person can do all the good in the world. It takes a lot of people that all just share a feeling, that understand and agree on something. It takes a lot of people to get anything done. And so I feel that it's not me that's doing all of this work. It's all of us agreeing and understanding, and all of us trying to be positive and choosing to be positive. That's what I think. I think it's people. It's us that deserve the credit. I don't think it's really one person that does that kind of thing. So I'm going to just grab a bunch of my boulders. I stole a bunch of boulders. I duplicated them. I stole them. But see, this area has brown boulders. I want this area to feel different. So I'm going to go ahead and change the color on those boulders. So I have boulder 2 here. Now I have boulder 1 set up already. So let's go ahead and select our boulders. Once they're all selected like that, I'm going to grab my material. I'm going to drag and drop the mythical creature, drag and drop. And you can see they are now gray. Now, I actually had painted the terrain, but it was a placeholder. It was, you know, I'm not using Unity's terrain because Unity's terrain is heavy. The performance is really bad. So I actually have a different shader that I'm going to use to paint the terrain. So for now, it's just going to have no different colors on the terrain. But in the actual game, it will have different colors as well. So. And this is part of planning to bring the game to different platforms as well. So now I get to think of a cool shape for this boulder, this rocky boulder area. I want to give the player some fun environment to play around with. So let's just go ahead and grab this guy, and I'm just going to press Control D. My two favorite buttons for Unity are F and Control D. So what the F key does, say I'm over here, right? If I press the F key, just grab the camera. Again, I'm going to go way over here. I'm going to press the F key, and that's going to bring me right over to the object that's selected. Control D duplicates the object, so that's good. I use that so much. The TV show Severance makes very effective use of liminal space and negative space in its visual design. Usage of negative space is really underappreciated, and it's so cool when you see something use negative space when considering, you know, the shapes that you can show with negative space are always so interesting. But it takes one person to spread of joy for others to follow. I just want to have a cool vibe. I want to have a cool vibe, and that's my priority. When I was young, I wanted a cool vibe, and that's it. You know, like my resting emotion. I'll share some personal information with you. My personal resting emotion, if I'm sitting and doing nothing, my personal resting emotion is, I think it's like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, San Francisco, which, you know, the song Superman. You know what I mean? So when I'm idling and I'm sitting there, that is my resting emotion. Is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, San Francisco? No, or Alcatraz. I'll take Alcatraz, or I'll take Hanger as well. But it's that. But it has to be the song Superman. Is that what the song is called? Capcom needs to hire you. I am a big fan of Capcom. Their games are so cool. Am I getting the song? Maybe I'm gonna get demonetized by YouTube if I play that song. I don't know. What's the song called? Tony Hawk Pro Skater OST Superman? Let me just pause Winamp real quick. See if I got the song right. Goldfinger. No, I want the one that has the Tony Hawk. Capcom is kind of based. Yeah! Okay, I think I got in trouble for that. But yeah, that's my resting emotion, you know? If I'm just sitting and doing nothing, that's how I feel inside. I feel like Tony Hawk Pro Skater. See, I don't want it to look like a ritualistic sacrifice circle, but I want the player to not be able to just walk straight into this boulder area, right? So how do we make this not look like a ritualistic sacrifice circle? Maybe you know what? We'll do one of these. We'll go like this. A little bit like that. A little bit like that. There we go. It's so exciting creating these areas. In my mind, I'm imagining what kind of treasures can I hide here? What sort of dangers can I put in this area? And that is what I think about when I'm constructing these areas. Those are the things I consider. What would be interesting? What would be fun? What is the best use of space that will give the player a challenge and give them a reward for exploring? I want to make sure that a player can never just walk a straight line through the environment, because that makes it very boring. And I'm using Control D here to duplicate my boulders. I'll go ahead and flatten this one, and then we'll just increase the size of it, just like that. That sort of central feature stops the player from just being able to walk a straight line. Okay. Let's go ahead and we'll put that over here, like that. If you rotate it like that, you want them to look different. These are all the same piece, right? I'm using the exact same piece over and over again, but by stretching and scaling them. You scale them and then you arrange them so that you use them in different ways, even though they are all the exact same piece. If you want, you can use even more pieces, but it's not feasible to make unique pieces over and over and over again unless you want to make a hyper-realistic game. It's just an absurd amount of work, and you need to decide for yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth doing all of that work? Do the benefits of that justify the amount of work of creating a bunch of unique pieces, or do you reuse a few assets in a way where they look different and they're used in interesting ways? So this is a situation where I'm following the design philosophy of the era that I'm trying to evoke. I'm trying to make this feel like this is like an old Atari game, isn't it? And back then they wouldn't have had like a billion polygons. They wouldn't have had a ton of unique geometry. They would have just reused a few assets. So that's the feeling that I'm trying to evoke here. We want it to still feel a little more natural and organic. So I'm going to add this out here so that it doesn't feel like a sacrifice circle. And trust me, I've seen some sacrifice circles in my time. Let me try and get caught up with the chat here. Just put one rock and call it a day. Slap $80. Hey, I'm putting in the effort. You guys see me scaling them, you know. I would highly recommend Got Hard. It's a Swiss rock band. I'm typing it in now and I'll check it out. Cool, I'll check them out. I like listening to a lot of different kind of music. Rock on. Thanks for the recommendation. There was a joke in Donjon de Nahulbuk. A hero never walk in straight lines. Hey, I get it. I can totally agree with it. I wonder how many games have tricked me with that. Probably a lot, seeing what you were doing. Yeah, a lot of games do it, but if you use them, you know, in a well-considered manner, you probably wouldn't even notice. You'd have to look very hard before you notice it. See how I've duplicated it, and I've duplicated, and then I've scaled it down a little bit, and then now I'm rotating it. So now that I've put these two pieces together, you know what? Let's go ahead and duplicate that a third time. Go ahead and shrink that down. And now I have 3 pieces. And now it's very difficult to tell that this is actually the same piece used over and over again. We're going to test this area with a traversal test. Now it's difficult to tell that it's the same piece used over and over again. Let's go ahead and bring this down here. Like that. There's an area in California, as you're leaving the cities and the hustle and bustle and the noise and the traffic, you're driving up towards Yosemite National Valley. Before you get there, there are foothills. And the foothills are sort of like a prelude chapter to the mountains. As you're going up Highway 120, on your left-hand side, you'll see signs for a little place called Knight's Ferry. It seems unassuming, and you probably would have never even heard it before, but Knight's Ferry actually has the longest covered bridge in the world. Knight's Ferry is a ghost town with ghost buildings that are abandoned, but there are still people that live there, and there are some nice places to hang out and meet people and have a drink. There is a restaurant called the Water's Edge where you can dine by the Stanislaus River, grab a drink. You can get yourself a burger and some French fries. They serve a beer called Galaxy Dust, which has an 11.8% alcohol rating. Now, I don't promote or encourage drinking. That's not something that I want to encourage. But if you are into that, that's an interesting experience. Later into the day, when the Water's Edge closes down, you can wander down the little streets. This little town barely looks any different from a Wild West town, from an old gold mining town. And on your left-hand side, you'll find a little saloon hidden in a way, tucked in a little alley called Rick's Saloon. There's a sign hanging there on one of the general shops that's easy to miss. Sometimes it's only hanging on a single hinge if it's been a rough season with weather and they haven't fixed it. But you hop into this little bar and you see baseball caps hanging from the ceiling. You see a jukebox tucked away in the corner, and it's not anything that has any kind of LCD or digital screen. It's got hard buttons, it's got CDs inside, and it still takes quarters. So you head over to the jukebox, you put some quarters inside, and you find old songs that you didn't think you would ever hear again. There's a man sitting at the far end of the bar. He's got tired old eyes, a gray mustache, weary blue eyes, and he's got a baseball cap that makes him look like a trucker. It looks like he's wearing one of the caps that's sitting up on the ceiling. The bartender flags you down. She asks you what you want to drink, and you say, I'll have the chicken fingers and mozzarella sticks. A couple of chicken strips. She says, what are you drinking? And you order something off the menu that you've never even seen before. A couple locals pile in. It's that time of night where really only locals show up to Rick's Saloon. They put a quarter into the pool table and you hear the clattering of pool balls as they're laughing and having a drink. Someone sits down at the piano at the far end that's towards the front of the bar that you hadn't seen. It's actually on the left-hand side, and you have to turn right as you enter. You hear someone play a little song on the piano. There's a door to the right of the jukebox that you hadn't noticed before, but you see people walk in, and as the door opens, you see a warm amber light. You wonder what that could be, and as people laugh, two ladies are giggling about something. They're got their arms over each other's shoulders, and they're going up to the bar to refill their drink. But as that door next to the jukebox just refuses to close, it's a creaky, rusty hinge. You realize there's a campfire out there, and there's locals sitting around a campfire having a laugh. You wonder what they're laughing about, so you walk past the jukebox, you open the door, and there's people sitting on stumps, on chairs. Some of them are having a smoke. Some of them are nursing their drinks. It's pretty late into the night. Everyone's still having fun, but you can barely tell who anyone is. People's faces are obscured not just by the shadows of the evening, but by the years of hard work, of toil, of loss, of joy, of pain. But they look like they've really enjoyed themselves. They look like they just have loved life so much. And you want to know what they're talking about. You want to know what conversation they're having. What are they laughing about? So you sit down with these people that you've never met before. And they treat you like you're one of them. They treat you like you've been there before. One of them gets up. An older man. He's got a gray beard. He's wearing a Vietnam War veteran cap. He's laughing and he says, I'm going to go get myself another drink. Can I get you one? You don't realize that a whole hour has passed since you've been sitting with these people by the campfire. You didn't realize that your drink had already been finished. And so you say, yeah, sure, I'd love one. And these locals seem just as fascinated with you as you are with them, and they want to hear about your life. They want to hear about your stories. And so here you are, out in the middle of the foothills, freshest air you've ever smelled, no traffic, no pollution, no city lights. All you have is the full moon, the stars, the campfire, these people that you've never even met before, but it feels like you've been friends for life. The campfire starts to slowly wane. It becomes weaker, it becomes ember, it's flickering now. You're wondering, is anyone going to do anything about it? Then a man in his 30s gets up. He walks over to a wood pile. He starts piling wood back onto that pile in Rick's Saloon in Knight's Ferry on Highway 120 in California. And there's something familiar about this man. You see this man, and he's laughing and he's smiling. He's got his arm around these other strangers as if he's known them for years and years and years. And you walk up to him and you say, holy shit, you're Jerrel. You're the guy that makes the YouTube videos. What are you doing here? And I say, of course I'm here. This is one of my favorite places to sit and hang out. Tell me your life story and let's have a drink. And there we go. Story time. That's one of my favorite places in the world. Knight's Ferry. The story sounds like it's the start of a creepypasta. No, it's kind of like a typical. I mean, when I spend time in California, it's a typical weeknight for me. I'll go and hang out in Knight's Ferry. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the vibe. Knight's Ferry. Look at this place. Oh, fantastic. I love this place. If you guys go here and hang out, there's a chance that you could bump into me. Rick's Saloon. I love this place. Oh, this is exactly how I described it, isn't it? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the story. I like listening to creepypasta. This wasn't a creepypasta, but I do like creepypasta. Sounds inviting, having a thunderstorm outside while listening to this. Now that's a vibe. That's cozy. The scary music is making the story seem like it's had a twisted turn. I've seen some scary stuff. There have been some scary stuff in the mountains. It's fun. That was amazing storytelling, by the way. Hey, thanks for that. Well, I was just, you know, I was just making it up on the spot, but I really was just recalling what it's like there. I've been chased by a pack of coyotes when I was at Knight's Ferry once. That's fun. So let's go ahead and test our traversal here. I just want to see what this feels like, you know? Yeah, I didn't think the scary story was going to start. I should have kept the chill vibe going with the chill music. The music is from one of my games. This is from Ruby River, Silver Falls, Ruby River. It sounded like a horror story. What's your favorite Zelda game? Piece of Cake, Link's Awakening on the Game Boy Color. Well, sorry, Link's Awakening DX. What's your favorite game? Did you seriously ad-lib all that story? Yeah, I just made it up. Thanks, Mahogany. Well, the storytelling I thought up, but I was actually describing a real place. I was describing a real town that I really like to go to. So I'll let you guys know, because I will be spending time in California later this year, but I actually will be spending a lot of time around Knight's Ferry. I just love hanging out with strangers and sharing life stories. We do have campfires in the back here. Sometimes I'll go in here and I'll play on they've got an old piano, and I'll play some songs and I'll sing some songs that people can sing along. But these are the places I like to hang out. And if you guys go to places like these, there's a chance that you could meet me and we could sing songs on a piano. Someone's put a video clip. This is exactly how I've described it in the story, isn't it? What is the scene you are creating currently? Oh, that's basically the overworld map for my upcoming game. Yeah, I came up with all of that off the top of my head. Wait, is the videos on Facebook still playing? How do I get rid of that? I got a lot of windows open. Okay. Yeah, this is the overworld. Well, it's just the whole game map for my upcoming game, Silver Falls Undertakers. So let's go ahead and grab my spawn point. We're going to test the traversal, and then we're going to add some ground cover to make it visually interesting. So, where's me spawn point? Where did we put him? We put him over here, didn't we? We tested this. We're not that far. So we're going to go ahead and bring this. We're going to bring this down over here now. We'll test the traversal. Do you mainly use Unity? For my commercial games, I use Unity. For my homebrew games, I use a lot of different stuff, but I also use Unity for my homebrew stuff as well. Wait, I want to get the shadows back on, so again, I probably should have just left it. Okay. There we go. Now we have the shadows back. So see how plain this is? We just have flat visual lines everywhere. We'll come back with our ground cover foliage, and then we will break that visual line. It's been a decade since you've been to California. I stay in the rural and mountain areas, and that's where it's really beautiful. That story reminds me of when I was very little. After leaving the arcade, I went with my friends and family to the beach in the dark to see Halley's Comet. Oh, that's so awesome! Yeah, I remember Halley's Comet. I remember that was such a big deal. Everyone was talking about that. What a cool memory. I'll try and catch up with the chat. I enjoy your content. It would be interesting to see a video on what it takes to port a game from one gen to another, Wii U to Switch. That's a great idea. I will share that. Yeah, great idea. I really like that. I love drinking when I'm sightseeing because it makes me see double. You get to see twice the sights. Trilink, hey Jerrel, wishing you well and hope you take it easy. Don't feel pressured to do YouTube. You don't owe anyone anything. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm doing YouTube because people told me that they enjoy it, we're having a laugh, and that my videos bring them positivity. So I will do my best. I really appreciate that. A hero can never walk in a straight line. Arrested for DUI. I like that. What's your take on shovelware? It's really a dumb way to exploit stores, isn't it? I hate shovelware, but I don't think there's anything we can do about it. Obviously, it sucks. It makes it hard to find things. It clutters up the store, devalues the store. But the thing is, if you try to govern that, if you overly police something, then there's no way to stop that from taking things too far. And you end up taking freedom away from everyone else by policing shovelware. It sucks. I don't know what the solution would be. I don't know. Planner, hey there. Danjo, hey man, I just wanted to say I really love your last video. It was touching, and I've been loving your content. Thanks for the last. I really appreciate that. Thanks for coming to hang out. Thank you for enjoying the video. I'm glad you're here. This is I said it earlier in the stream, but it's just basically a dream come true that I get to just hang out with people who like games, and we get to talk about whatever we want, and I get to make a game and share this stuff with you. And for those of you that are into game development, if anything that I do here can help you, then that's awesome. So I'm thinking of this as a gamer, right? I'm thinking, you know, it'd be sick if there was just like a little pathway here, and then there was an item in there. As a gamer, I think that'd be so cool. So I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it. Okay, and then we're going to use our foliage, and we're going to break that visual line. Breaking the line. See, I want to make sure that this isn't obscured by this tree, because now that traversal is getting a little bit confusing there. So I will clean that up a little bit. There we go. All right. Cool. Let's go ahead and clean this tree area up a little bit. Ooh. Take that one out. What in there? See, I don't want it to look confusing. I don't want to confuse the player with the layout of the trees here. Just pinched a little bit. Purple Elite, wishing you well. Here's some for the Alibaba Fund. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm going to find something. I'll find a ridiculous prop, and then I'll buy something and make a funny video out of it. I find Steam event showcases help me find new games I may care about. Found some odd ones I may miss. Otherwise, I think it's so important that we have things like highlights like that to help people find games. The biggest problem with the Nintendo eShop, I mean, obviously it's clunky, and the more games that you load, it stops functioning. The biggest problem is that you can't just find a game that you might like, and I think they're going to fix that with the Switch too. One of my favorite things about the 3DS and Wii U eShop was you could just wander in. You could wander into those shops, and you can find a game that you never knew about, and then try it, and then you'd find out you really like it. There's never been a moment when I've used the Switch eShop where that felt fun. where I thought, yeah, I'll just go in here and I'll find something cool. I usually leave after a while just frustrated because the shop is a bad experience. What's the best FPS game you've ever played? I don't play a lot of FPS, but I'm gonna say Halo 2. Because that's the one that I've played the most with my friends. And my experiences, like what I consider my favorite ones, are the ones where I get to spend time with people. So that's sort of my situation. I don't want to clutter this area up too much, you know what I mean? See that I'm looking at the straight line. I don't want the player to be able to just go like that. So now they have to go like that. It's just more interesting. Okay, I think that's enough. So let's go ahead and grab our... I'll use the brown grass in this area. I think it'll be just visually interesting to have more color here. Oh, this area is... I need to make that bigger. That's actually too small. What I'm doing is breaking up the visual line. So I'm looking for where there are lines between the boulders and the ground. And I'm putting grass there to break up the visual monotony. We're also going to use some flowers as well. I'm going to go ahead and fill out this area here. But there's a limit to how much grass you can have in one area. This is a technical limit with Unity, is that you can only have so many polygons using their grass system in one area, and then after that it'll just start culling it out. So that's why I'm being extremely careful with my grass placement. You can increase the values, but then I know for a fact if I do that, then the game won't run well on the PS Vita. So I'm developing this with technical constraints in mind, that if I want this to run on the Vita, I need to have all of this stuff at low resolution, and I need to make sure that I don't have too much grass, and I don't have high resolution textures to define where the grass is. I'm a big, big Vita fan. I agree with the Switch Shop comment. My kid wanted to download a game on a Switch, and Ayateki was frustrated by the end of it. It's not great, is it? It's really just... Yeah, I saw people talking about the Switch 2 eShop, and it looks way better. You like RPGs? I love RPGs. Have you seen FPS RPG Psycho Patrol R? I haven't, but I'm going to type that into my search engine now so I can look at it. Psycho Patrol R. Psycho Patrol R. Whoa. Ooh, this has a cool vibe. Okay. Oh, I like that. Oh man. The texture looks hand drawn on like watercolor. This is cool. This has personality. I like stuff that has personality. I like stuff that has its own identity. This is neat. Oh, that's cool looking. What? A mech? My weak spot is mechs. I love mechs. Oh, this looks so interesting. Oh, it's creepy. Oh, that's so creepy. I like this. Yeah, nice. This is interesting to look at. Oh, what is it? I dig it. I'm gonna set that aside for later. Thank you for that. Thanks for the recommendation. That's cool. It has mechs. I love genre mixes. Yeah, same here, Imaginary. I I think like if this is why AI is bad, because it's gonna figure out exactly what I want, and then they'll use AI to just make something that has the exact things that I want, and then they can just make me buy a lot of things. They can make me spend money on it. RPGs, psychological horror, mechs. I'm already there. Alright, here we go. I'm being careful with the usage of my grass. Again, I have to keep it low because I want this on the Vita. It means that the resolution for the map that I use to define where the grass is low. Visual line that I'm trying to break there. See where I'm trying to find those hard lines between the terrain and the rock. I think the color will be correct. It's supposed to be brown. It's green now, but it's supposed to be brown. Okay, let's go ahead and get some flowers in there as well. Let's get some yellow. That's quite nice in there. That's really lovely. Bring that in. Tuck those flowers just in there. Just a little bit of flowers. Doesn't have to be a whole lot. Just there. We can't only have yellow flowers. We have to have colors of different other flowers. Let's go ahead and get some white flowers in there as well. It'll be really pleasant if we just get some white flowers, but we'll put them in spots where there already isn't any visual information. Let's get some visual information in there. It's just there. Make this area just cute. How about we make this like a little flower patch? This will be our little secret. This will be our little flower patch here. When you play this game, you'll know what this little spot means. This is our little spot. This is our special little flower patch. But don't you tell anyone. Don't you tell anyone about this flower patch. It's a secret. We're going to put a little purple. Going to put a purple in there. That's really nice. Don't you tell anyone about our special place. Let's get some green grass in there to make that nice and pleasant. This is nice here. Get some green in there. Really mix up that color. Give it a little bit of dynamic in terms of the color values that are present here. Nice color. This area would be the least traversed, so I'm going to go ahead and fill this with grass. This is where would be the least amount of foot traffic, wouldn't there? It's looking quite nice. Okay. I might want another flower just here. Let's go ahead and bring in white just there. Now we've broken up the visual monotony. Let's go ahead and get some flowers out here as well. This would be really nice. Bring some visual monotony. Let's get some yellow flowers down here. Then we'll grab the... Oh, let's go ahead and get some green grass back. N64 vibes. Yeah, I hear you for that game. How many times I have found great secret spots, and then the secrets of the game is just basic ones. That's why with this one, with my games, that's what I think of. I think of things that have disappointed me as a gamer, and I think, oh, it would have been so cooler if this had happened instead. Those are things that I think about. So with my game on the... This is one that generally people tell me is one of their favorites. That's the price in Australian dollars. But with Ghoul Busters, you know how in like old platformer games you pick up items, but they don't. You pick up like a little coin, and all they do is give you an extra life. And I always felt like they were so useless. And then eventually, after a while, you don't see any value in them, and then you just kind of stop picking them up. But in Ghoul Busters, the items you pick up are bottle caps, and you use the bottle caps to purchase items. And the items are extremely useful in this game. So this game came about by thinking, what are some things that have disappointed me, or what are things that annoyed me over the years, and how can I make a game that is just really satisfying and fun and challenging? And so you can see here, like, these are all the items that you get in Silver Falls Ghoul Busters. A Ninja Star, a Hyper Candy, which slows down time, so you get... It's not bullet time, it's Hyper Candy time. You have an umbrella that lets you float. These aren't senzu beans, they're jelly beans. But I wanted them to look like the senzu bean bag because they basically do what senzu beans do. They refill your health. Your health is indicated by jelly beans. Then you can collect box tops, and if you get 3 box tops, you get even better items. You get a helicopter, which floats around you, a little toy helicopter, it hits enemies. You get these special shoes that stop you from taking knockback, so they massively reduce your knockback. You get dynamite, which you can use to blow up enemies, and a balloon, which you can jump on to help with your platforming. So that's something I consider when I'm making my games, is what's something that's disappointed me, and can I do something that people would like? And I like actually having a reason to pick up the little coins so that you can buy stuff. There's a bunch of different filters for Ghoul Busters as well. This one's like an old TV one. And I have different colors, so you can do like Virtual Boy mode as well. So, and this one makes it look like an old Game Boy. So this is Silver Falls Ghoul Busters. People tell me this is one of their favorite games. Oh wow, it's only 88 megabytes. I really optimized this. This came from a 3DS game. This was originally a 3DS. Game Dev Bob, bro. Who are you gonna call Ghoul Busters? I loved working on this game so much. I don't talk about my work that much because I don't like bragging or talking about things that I've done. This is a game I had so much fun making. It was ridiculous because it was something I wanted to play, you know? And I would make little parts of the level, and I would say it'd be so funny if I just made this level a certain way. If I put this little part in here and then just screwed people over royally. Like, I built parts of the level to make people think, oh, I did it, I got past the hard part, I'm totally safe. And then there's something that will just screw you over, and you only see it like a split second before it hits you. And you could have reacted to it, except you weren't expecting it. And I did a bunch of things like that. I thought, that's just so funny. And it's not like it screws you over permanently, because there are checkpoints, so then you think, wow, what a jerk. And you know to anticipate it for next time. Those are the kind of funny things I like in games. I like that sort of thing. Which process takes the most time while making the game? What takes the most process when making a game is the testing and revising process. Is finding things that don't work, figuring out why they don't work, not just like glitches, not just mechanically, but also conceptually. It's both of those things. Sometimes things mechanically don't work, sometimes things just in concept don't work, where something doesn't feel right. What do you change about it to make it feel right? That's the most difficult part. You get to a stage where you need to figure out where the bugs are, you have to fix them, but then you also you oh, you also need to make sure that the concept feels right. That's just legendary level design. Yeah, debugging, and here's the difficult thing. The reason why debugging and that sort of process of revising, of revision, is difficult because it sucks away your soul points. So as a human, you have soul points. And something like finding out your game doesn't work, even though you're super confident, you are certain this stuff is supposed to work. Everything you program is correct. It should work, but for some reason it's not. And now you've just spent 3 weeks trying to figure out why it's not working, and you have come to the point where you realize you will not be able to figure out why it's broken. You cannot figure out what's causing it. Now you just have to find a way to work around it. You just have to find a way to avoid the problem by working around it, because you've already wasted too much time and you haven't figured it out yet. That sucks up your soul points. It is frustrating. It's humiliating because it makes you feel, I should be able to fix this. I should be able to figure out what's wrong with it, but sometimes you can't. No matter how hard you try, sometimes you just cannot figure it out, and you have to find a workaround. That part is a lot of game development, and it sucks up your soul points. So replenish your soul points while you can. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and fill out this little area as well. Troubleshooting is always awful. Doesn't matter what it is, it just sucks. Yeah, you said it. especially with Unity, I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy, but Unity has so many things that are broken that Unity will destroy your soul. Like, I'm a different man now than when I was before I started using Unity. Like, I'm broken inside. I'm a husk of a human because of what Unity has done. Obviously, I'm joking. I'm just exaggerating, you know? Obviously, I didn't mean that. I'm just messing around. But Unity has things that are supposed to work. You look at the forum posts online and people say, yeah, this works. You look at, you know, all the whatever manuals, they say, yeah, this feature works. But for some reason, it doesn't work for you. It's broken. And there are times when you're using Unity where you have to just accept this is broken. It's supposed to work, but it doesn't work, and you have to accept it, and you have to make a workaround for it. It sucks, but that's just part of game development. And the sooner you accept that Unity is broken, the sooner you can come up with a workable solution. I'm making it sound like Unity is terrible. It's not for everyone. It's great if you can put up with it. The positives for me outweigh the negatives for using Unity. Actually, blood clot. I have put on not enough chromatic aberration. Look, if you use enough, it can make games look. It's just that little trick, chromatic aberration, where it just makes things look a little more realistic. It's like a very subtle thing, but it's so cool when it's used well. Make it into an Easter egg. As a game developer, can you determine whether Kirby or Donkey Kong weighs more based on their polygons? Sorry. Obviously, Donkey Kong weighs more because the fur, has hair cards, so they're modeled. So he weighs more than Kirby. Unless Kirby eats a car, in that case, Kirby weighs more. That's what he did. Flower patch in there. That's really nice. It'll be really nice. Put a little yellow flower patch in here. It's just our little secret. It'll be really nice. A couple more flowers just here. That's our little secret. When you guys play this game, you'll know. You know this is our spot here. It's an our flower patch. So you see how I said you have to be careful not to put too many polygons in one area because Unity will start culling it. So it's culled out that purple patch. So now I'm just going to start deleting grass so we can get it back. It's because these are grouped into areas. You see? It came back. It came back. Cool. I'm just going to delete a little bit more so we can get... There's budget. Budget is everything. Kind of sucks. If I wasn't worried about putting this on the Vita, then I wouldn't be so fussy about the budget for the flowers and the grass. But I want this running on the Vita, and I want it. I don't want to compromise. I want it to be just perfect. I want it to be the same. Do you have any favorite original soundtrack from any game you like? Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy IX, Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3. Yeah, I'd say that's it. Actually, any Final Fantasy between... I mean, I'd be a liar if I said I loved the soundtrack of Final Fantasy 1 because it's sparse. It was the first one, there wasn't a lot. Any soundtrack between Final Fantasy 2 and 10 I could listen to at any point. Absolutely love them. What about DK Kirby? So if Kirby eats Donkey Kong... Oh, yeah, that's right. It'd be pretty heavy. I actually love... Right? You live right next to Bob Ross's cousin? No way! That's awesome! These are bangers. Yeah, Chrono Trigger! Oh, absolutely! I have not played Elden Ring. I would like to. That is a game I do want to play. Oh man, I don't have enough time in my day. I would love to have more time, but we all have limited time. We're all going to die one day, and I'm trying to make the absolute most of every second that I've got. Sometimes I do a bad job. Sometimes I realize I'm scrolling on AliExpress too long because I'm looking for another stupid, hilarious prop to use for a funny YouTube video, and I realize that I've wasted too much time, and I just, there's grass in there. I want to erase that. Just get the budget back. Where's my guy? Where's my guy? now. There we go. That's good. Somewhere the grass is inside. If you were using a higher resolution splat map to define where the grass is, you wouldn't be having this problem. But I'm using a low resolution map because I'm running this on the Vita. So that's why. Otherwise, you would have more precision with where you're placing it. Just want you to explain that. I want something else here. This is quite empty here. This is music from one of all the music we're listening to is from my Silver Falls games. Look, if you guys want to try them on the 3DS, I heard that 3DS emulators on Android are actually really good right now. So if you can find the ROMs for my 3DS games, because I've got like 5 games on the 3DS, try them. GBA soundtrack favorites? Sonic Advanced 3! You guys know the song that plays in the title. I can hear it in my head right now. Sonic Advance 3 is a game that I'll just boot up for the vibe. Some games you boot up because you want to feel a vibe. I'll boot up Advance 3. Oh man, you hear the guy in the beginning, and you hear the... You know the music I'm talking about. You guys know. Love the ice level music was fine. Oh man, ice level music is always so good for some reason. Or snow level, snow or ice. Look, I'm feeling kind of good about the placement of the grass. You can see we've broken up the visual line. I'm trying to like fix areas where the grass is inside the terrain like that, but because my resolution on the map that I'm using, I'm being ridiculous. I'm being really silly. What I should do is place the grass and then move the boulder. I'm being ridiculous right now. Okay. They'll just move that, so... Yeah, that's... Because I don't have that much precision over where I'm putting the grass. Okay, and that's looking pretty good. You know what? I feel like there's an imbalance here. So what I will do is I'll try and place it down here. There we go. Then I'll take this stuff. Now there's more room up there. There we go. I mean, I'm going through some inconvenience because I'm making this for older consoles. If I was only making this for the modern consoles, I could do things faster and I could have higher resolution stuff. But, you know, these are the kind of decisions you make. I think it's worth it. You never played Sonic Advance 3. Own it. Maybe I should boot up my ESP. Oh, you guys! So, I want to show you my reshells that I did. I've reshelled some SPs, because I have some SPs. I just finished the reshell on my PSP. Check this out. Transparent blue. Gold buttons. It still has the crappy, like, default screen protector. I need to order a decent screen protector, so I'm leaving the crappy one on there. But yeah, gold buttons, transparent blue. I just finished this today. You love transparent shells? You and I can get along. So here's the thing. I'm going to be honest with you. I botched this reshell. I started doing this last week, and I accidentally pinched the ribbon cable for the screen. So I destroyed the screen by accident. It was my first time doing a reshell on a PSP, and I just made mistakes on the placement, and I really pinched it, and it destroyed the screen. So I ordered a new screen, and I was terrified that I just broke something. I was just playing a couple rounds of Tetris. Yeah. I was just playing some Tetris. Man, look at it's so cool. Being able to see stuff. Look, look under this side. Look at all the cables and the guts you can see. Look at all the guts in there. How cool is that? Look at that. Yeah, I'm so pleased with how that turned out. I'm glad that I was able to fix it by putting another screen in because I was worried I did more damage because I'm not I'm not that great at doing a reshell, so I messed that up, but it's fixed. Pizza cupcake incoming. Is it a 3000? Yes. Yes. I want to double check something on the screen though because the previous screen had interlacing, but I don't know if this one does actually. I think the screen that I got doesn't have interlacing. Oh. Sorry guys, I'm not going to pay attention to you. I'm going to boot up another game. One reason I really didn't like this model was because of the interlacing. Oh. I think this one doesn't have interlacing. You guys. I'm going to boot up tennis real quick. Okay, so I secretly did myself a favor because I wasn't using this console so much because the screen had really bad interlacing. So I'm so glad I broke the screen because this one doesn't interlace. What? I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know you could just like change it out for a better screen. Is that possible? I'm so excited right now, you guys. I didn't realize you could do that. I thought I was stuck with interlacing. What? I'm so amped right now, you guys. You don't realize how exciting this is for me. I really dislike the interlacing. I'm so excited right now. A happy accident. I'm so jazzed. Oh my god. That is a happy accident. I'm so glad I broke the ribbon cable now. I did not think it was possible. I thought you were stuck. I thought they would all be like that. I like the Xbox Series 20th anniversary controller. Is that the one that's clear blue? Because I saw a clear blue one. Someone someone mentioned to me in the comments, and I looked it up, and I really wanted it. It looked awesome. See, look, you can put a little item in here, like a smaller item. Let's do it. Let's just do it now. It'll be fun. Some handgun ammo. How about that? Here's my event system. It won't be six. I can't believe I used 600 bullets that fast. 20 bullets. You know, not bad. Let's get ourselves an upgrade item. I'm just gonna borrow one, right? I'm just gonna grab one. I'll grab that one, bring it on over. I'll control D it. Let's put it down here. We'll tuck it away in the corner. This will be our little secret. You guys will know about this. I'm gonna leave this here in the actual game. That'll be for you guys to know. Alright, let's give it a try. I'm glad things that work for you. Happy accident. I'm so jazzed about that. How cool. You don't understand how hard I was trying to convince myself that the interlacing didn't bother me. Like, I spent years telling myself, it's not that big of a deal. The interlacing doesn't really bother me, but it always did. I was trying to lie to myself. But now, no, I don't have to worry. Work calls, but I like this. I'll rewatch later. Hey, thanks for coming to hang out. Okay, we'll see you later. We'll see you when you're back during the replay. I'm gonna move back to see how the boulders. I'll make a mental note of them. Hey everybody, finally done with work. Hey Chris, good to see you. We're hanging out here. making games. We're building the environment for my upcoming game, Silver Falls Undertakers. Not enough interlacing. See, here's the thing when I'm using virtual, like, these retro handhelds, like this is the Ambernic RG35XX, and this one's older and it's not worth buying anymore because there are handhelds that are cheaper that are infinitely better than this one. So I cannot recommend this one. A huge problem I had with this is that I had to interlace my fingers to hold it. To me, there was no comfortable way, so I never used this one that much. It's just, look. Look. Or you could do this, and oh. That's something I want to point out with these consoles is how comfortable are they really? Okay, I have a level 0. There's something that if you have a look at my games, the ones that have level up systems for the weapons, you'll notice that I always start the weapon levels at 0. They're never at 1 because to me 0 is a number. So why not start at 0? 0 indicates that you haven't made any progress yet. 1 to me indicates that you've already made progress. So yeah, any of my games, if you have a look, especially Silver Falls Gaiden Deathly Delusion Destroyers on 3DS, that is a battle RPG game, and it's all about leveling up. It's all about the weapons and the stats, and they all start at 0 because we all start somewhere. Yeah, I picked up my stuff. I'm happy. Bang, bang. You shot me down. Bang, bang. You hit the ground. Bang, bang. My baby shot me down. Bang, bang. I'm just going to turn the terrain off so I can have shadows. It is 1 a.m. I think I might clock out soon. I've got some things I need to take care of tomorrow, and I think I need to get some sleep. Let's go ahead and fix this guy because I said I would fix him. I'll fix him real good. So now it's sort of cramped, isn't it? So we're going to move those trees. Let's just keep hanging out for a little bit, and then we'll wind things down, and then I'll clock out. I probably should be getting to sleep soon. So let's go ahead and clear out some of these trees. You don't want your traversable areas to be vague. The thing that I always think of is, if anyone here has played the original Final Fantasy VII, do you know what I'm talking about when I say there's that scene there's the area in Midgar in the slums where you have no idea that you can walk in a certain area and you keep trying to walk somewhere else? Do you guys know? What ended? Hey, howdy, good to see you. This is Unity. Unity is look. I like the level design tools in Unity. They're pretty decent. Ever since learning code, zero-based index is the way to go. I'll look that up. Poor controller ergonomics can ruin a lot of games. Yeah, absolutely. Sony pretty much perfected controller ergonomics. I haven't got to see what the PS5 haptic shoulders. I haven't tried that. I don't know what they're like, and I would like to at some point. I don't think I will ever own a PlayStation 5 because it's a bit pricey, and I don't get to play games that much. I'm so busy with my own development that I can't justify buying a PlayStation 5. So I'm gonna have to like go over to a friend's house and try and use their PlayStation. As a kid, I didn't get which parts of the environment I could walk upon and which not. Yeah, there's certain parts in 7 where but see, the thing is, that was, I mean, other than Saga Frontier, which they did first, that was basically their first time making environments like that in a game like that, where they had pre-rendered graphics and character models. And it is a 3D environment. It's just not a free camera. And obviously the artists were still learning. No one had ever done it before. So let's just work on this. Look, we'll do this area while we're hanging out, and then I'll clock out. Games during the zombie apocalypse will really feel light too when they don't find as much ammo. You would think that ammo should be everywhere, shouldn't you? Video games make you think you just tripping over ammunition, basically. Okay, I know this area. This area I'm going to paint is going to have a brown, sandy, dirty floor, so I know it'll be that. I'll remember that. Well, this is all, you know, bespoke work. You can use automated tools to help you with this, to do a bunch of stuff automatically for you. But to me, taking a bespoke approach where you do things by hand, it gives you more control over your artistic expression. You get to impart your understanding of visual expression into it. So I never use the automated tools for this terrain stuff. But you know, it depends, because one day I might be working on a project where I just need a massive environment and it doesn't necessarily need to be intricately detailed. And at that point, I would use procedural tools to populate biomes. But in general, my games have a very bespoke feel to them. Do you have any advice on how to get your foot in the door for game development? Do you mean career-wise or just starting for yourself? The best thing that you can do is to just start out using a program like Game Maker or RPG Maker. The most important thing is to develop your understanding and your ability to take a concept out of your head and put it into a functional product. That is the most important thing. And the best way to do that is to use the easiest program to use. You need the program that will do the most work for you. And so I recommend using RPG Maker when you are first learning, because the skills that you gain, the understanding that you develop will translate over into other game engines. A lot of people start with Unity and they quit because Unity is frustrating, because you have to do so much work with Unity. You already have to have a very strong understanding of how to take an idea out of your head and then make it into a functional product. Unity is not a good starting place, and a lot of people quit because they're told to start with Unity. They start learning Unity. But when you're learning Unity, you have so much to learn. Unity itself is already its own set of skills that you have to learn. And when you force people to learn too much at one time, people won't be able to absorb the information that's being presented to them. So I strongly recommend starting with something like Game Maker or RPG Maker. How much math, linear algebra, and such do you use for games? Not a lot. In general, modern game engines will do all of that work for you. So these days, you don't really need to have a strong understanding of math yourself. You really only need like basic algebra, really, but fancy, complicated math, you don't really need it anymore. It's good to have a basic understanding of math, though. So here again, I'm going to go through the edges here. You see how these are all quite harsh and unnatural looking? I'm going to erase some of them, and I'm going to break that visual line that we have. I'm going to add some trees here. We're breaking the visual line. See how it looks unnatural here? It's just a straight row of trees. We're going to delete some. Add that one back in. And that gives it a more organic look. That's much better now. See, it only takes a little bit of work. It's your understanding of visual expression that makes something look good or look bad. Let's go ahead and populate this area here. Just fill this in with trees. I found RPG Maker overwhelming when I first opened it up and went Unreal. That's interesting. That's interesting feedback. Huh. I'll look at them and compare them and see if I can understand where you're coming from, but that is very interesting feedback. Okay. So you see how in this area you see we have a shape, we have a visual line. It is harsh, It does not look very good, so I'm just going to erase some of the trees and then put some in. I want to make sure people will be able to walk in there. I need to turn the lighting off. The shadows are confusing me. You can see that looks quite unnatural. I'm just going to erase some. Make that look more natural. See how that is a straight line? So what I'm doing is breaking the line. You can use this design philosophy in your own work and you will see a difference. You see how there's a straight line here that doesn't look natural or organic. We've broken that line and now it looks more interesting. We're almost done here. Especially when it comes to tree lines like this, it doesn't take a lot to break the line, really. A little bit can go a long way. We have successfully broken the line, and now it's more organic looking. Yes, that's nice. We'll put this lonely little tree here. Some of us are lonely people, and that's just going to be this tree here. But you know what? Here's another lonely little tree. He's just on his own. Ah, look at it with our lighting. Nice. Okay, let's go ahead and traverse this and see what it's like. I'm going to go ahead and grab our spawn point. Right on down here. Sorry if I'm giving you motion sickness. Okay. Do you have a favorite console? It might be the 3DS. I love 3DS. It can play a bunch of old platforms, and the 3DS was my first console that I developed on and published games on. So there's a lot of reasons why I like the 3DS. Also, the 3D is really cool. Totally sick. Where am I? What am I doing up here? What? What's happening? Oh, I grabbed the plane, not the object. It used to... My favorite console used to be the PlayStation, because it had all of, you know, my Final Fantasies on there. It had Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Breath of Fire, Bloody Roar, Tekken, Abe's Odyssey, Jumping Flash 2, Big Trouble in Little Moo. What else do we got? Oh man, Pandemonium, Tomba, Resident Evil. Yeah, my favorite used to be PlayStation, but these days it's the 3DS. So here's this is like an obnoxious quirk with Unity 5 and this particular version of it and the lighting system. It freaks out, right? There's no reason why those lights should be cold, and you can't fix it. It's broken. It's one of those things you have to accept is broken. So what you have to do is increase the intensity. Like, you can't fix it. You can't understand it. You just have to find a workaround. So the workaround for this is to increase the intensity of the light and then decrease the color to make it dimmer. And that is the only way to fix it. There is no other way to fix it. You cannot fix it. And if we take a look now, it should work properly. I missed the 3D. Yeah, but you know what? We can always go back. We can always go back and enjoy stuff in 3D. There you go. I fixed it. So I want to, yeah. So there's more work that goes into this than you realize. There's way more work that goes into it. So you see how when I enter this house, the roof disappears. But something you don't notice is that the moon no longer affects the character. There's no light from the moon. There's no shadow from the moon. Once you step back outside, you'll see that the moon does affect the character. The moon is casting a shadow. I'll show you what it looks like. If I don't put in the extra work, it looks bad. So I'll go to my roof rig. And I'll turn off the roof caster. And you'll see this is what it looks like. So the character has the moon affecting him. I'll show you another building where it's more obvious, and you can see he's casting a shadow and it makes no sense. So what you have to do, I'll turn the roof caster back on, you see? You can see that the moon here is actually casting light. There's a shadow from the walls. You can see the moon is actually casting light on this part of the building. And there's a roof caster there. And what that is actually, it's a quad. It's a mesh. There's a model there. There's actually a physical model, but it is designed, it's set to shadows only. If I say on, this is what the actual model is. This is stopping the moon from casting light and casting shadows. If you set that to shadows only, then the model itself will be invisible, but it still casts shadows. So that's extra work you have to do. And if you don't do that, it looks terrible. I'll show you how bad it can look. Let's go to Grandpa's house. We're going to Grandpa's house. I can show you what the voice acting is going to sound like. We're going to Grandpa's house. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. What do you think of the Switch 2 having a slot that'll allow you to play Switch 1 and Switch 2 games? I like that. I really like that it'll play Switch 1 games. I love backwards compatibility. So this is Grandpa's house. I really like the way that I got this little zoom in. That way you can get right up close and enjoy the polygons, you know? So I'll show you how bad it looks if you don't take into account, you know, occluding lighting from the moon. So I'll go to my house, I'll go to my roof rig here. And there's my roof caster. I'll show you what it looks like. This is the model that exists there. This is still there. It's casting a shadow there, so it's blocking the moonlight. Shadows only. But if this isn't enabled, here's how bad it looks. See the difference? So now there's extra shadows on the character. And this part of the building is illuminated from above for no reason. So here is without the roof shadow caster. Here's with the roof shadow caster. Without and with. And that's all thanks to Unity having this. Luckily this is something that Unity does well. It's built in shadows only. So I'm grateful to Unity for having something good like that. This grandpa's chair. There's a typo there. I'm going to have to remember that. This grandpa chair. This grandpa chair. It's really comfortable. You are only allowed to sit on this chair when he's not around. Far more advanced. Mario Maker is simply a level up. Would you compare Unity to Mario Maker, or is it way more advanced? It's way more advanced. Actually, I don't know. People tell me that using Unreal feels more like a level editor. I haven't used it that much, so I can't really comment on it, but that's what I've heard people say. What game is this? This is going to be my upcoming game, Silver Falls Undertakers. This is coming to the Nintendo Switch. And if you haven't seen the battle system yet, you can hold the L button or L2 and it locks your character to that direction. So when you're fighting, you have free movement. You can move whatever direction you can fight. I don't have any weapons yet. I'll just walk through here and I'll show you. There's also dark areas of the game where the character will automatically turn on a flashlight, so I'll show you what that looks here. Derek Pierce, thanks for hanging out, but you gotta go. Take care. Thanks for hanging out. It was great. It's been a lot of fun. Have you ever seen a project called Compound Fracture on Steam? It has Dino Crisis vibes. Hold on. I'm gonna have to type that in and I'll save it. Thanks for all these recommendations. Compound Fracture. Compound Fracture. Let's see what this is. Oh, yeah! Dino Crisis vibes! Yes, with the PlayStation 1 shader. I dig it. Thanks for the recommendation. I'll be looking at this later. Wish list. Save. sick. Oh, that's sick. I like games that have personality, that look interesting, that have their own visual identity. I like that. See, and then once you leave these dark areas, your flashlight automatically turns on. So this thing's going to try to kill me. I placed some weapons here for testing. I'm going to go ahead and grab them. Ah. Grab the handgun. I'm going to grab my handgun upgrades. Meanwhile, this guy's trying to kill me. Yeah. Okay, hold on. No, this guy. You can get party members. This framework I built is designed for party members. Okay. Torch. Oh yeah, I got my torch. So when you open your item menu, the game actually enters slow-mo. So stuff's still moving, but it gives you a chance to just change your equipment. Oop. So see, if I hold the L button, you see how I've locked directions? So I can fire my gun, and I can retreat and use ranged weapons at the same time. Got him. I can use my torch. I'll use my torch in this cool area here. Is Unity good for turn-based RPGs, or would you recommend another engine for that? It's fine. It's a lot of work. It takes a huge amount. If you've never programmed a game before, it would take you years before you could develop a turn-based battle system in Unity. But you can purchase frameworks. So a framework is basically a template for a game that you can use. And there are a bunch of good frameworks on the Unity Asset Store. Maybe you're paying $40, maybe you're paying $100, but you can purchase a framework in Unity so that you don't have to program years and years worth of coding logic. You can buy the framework, and then you put in your own graphics, your music, your story. You can do all of that stuff. And that's what's great about the Unity ecosystem, is that there is an asset store with a lot of frameworks. So that is one option. That's a very good option to go with. I wasted all my handgun ammo. I don't have any more. Oh, there's sticks here. I'll take these sticks. All right, I got 10 of these. Pitchfork. Yeah. 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 The Switch will have 3D motion controls, VR themes, and Street Pass. I really hope Switch 2 has themes. I'm kind of bummed out by like the sterile presentation of the Switch. I want it to have personality. Yeah, I'm gonna pitchfork this guy. I got a stick. I'm gonna throw a stick at him. Yeah, here's a stick in your eye. I'm gonna stun lock this guy, you guys. I ran out of sticks to throw. So the pitchfork isn't that good, which is why you need to level it up. You explore, you find, level ups for the pitchfork, but it has good range. Like it goes really far. I'm gonna die. I'm going to die. So yeah, that's the combat system. Is you have full range of movement. You can stay locked to one direction while you're fighting. You have a mix of melee and ranged weapons, and what you don't see are you also have trap weapons like animal traps and whatnot. So yeah. You're getting me through a hard time, game, bro. Keep it up. I really appreciate that. That's why I want to keep making these videos. I want to make positive, fun videos because people have told me that the videos, they're something positive that they look forward to. So I'll keep doing it, and I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. This is fun. This is basically a dream come true because I get to make games, and then I get to hang out with people who like the same kind of games I like. And then I get to make stuff for you guys, which is really cool. It's so absurdly cool. I'll show you this before I clock out here. I'm gonna clock out. Undertakers. Okay, cool. So the game that I'm showing you now is a remake of one of my older games called Silver Falls Undertakers. So this is Silver Falls Undertakers. This is a free version for the web browser, and it doesn't have all the game content. It only has the story mode. But I'll put the link in the chat. You can play this. You won't be able to play it on your phone unless you have a controller. So this requires controls or a keyboard. Okay. So yeah, this is the original game. This is the original Silver Falls Undertakers. We can sort of do a side-by-side comparison, you know. This is currently, it's only available on the 3DS and the Wii U. If you happen to find the ROM and you can play it unofficially, go for it. Have fun. The Wii U is the best version right now. So if you can find that, play Silver Falls Undertakers. This is the original. And this is the remake. We'll put them side by side here. We'll do a comparison thing here. Was that E.T. for the NES? That's quite a difference. Jerrel, are you interested in Metroid Prime 4? Yeah. Oh yeah. I still haven't got to play Dread. I love the vibe. I love the horror. Where am I? Where did I go? Where am I? Where am I? Oh, I'm down there. No, I'm gonna move myself. I'm gonna just go into build mode real quick. Okay. Okay, so this is the remake. Here we go. You can ignore, that's a spawn point for now for testing. So yeah. And then here's the original. Yeah. Here's the original, and here's the remake that I'm working on. You can play this right now for free. So this is a version of the game that's on the web browser. You do need a controller, or you can use you should be able to use the keyboard. Yeah, you just use the keyboard and the space button. Again, this doesn't have all the game content, but if you can find the ROM, you can find the ROM for this unofficially for the 3DS or Wii U. Feel free to enjoy it. But this is one that you can play right now. So again, I'll just put the link in the chat again. There you go. Feel free to enjoy that. You do need a map, though. It gets pretty tough. There's no save points in this version as well. I wanted it to feel like an Atari game. I'll put the link to the map. Where is it? Ghoul Busters. Undertakers. This is the website. This is the official website for Silver Falls. So I'm just going to scroll down, and then there's a world map here. This will really help you. So I'm going to just copy the link for the world map. Copy link address. This is the world map. I would strongly recommend using the world map. What I really wanted to do is I wanted to get posters made so that then you could just buy the posters off the official Sungrand website, and then I wanted a sticker pack so that when you find the items in the game, then you take the sticker and you put it on the actual poster. And I might do that when I launch this version, when I launch the remake. I might do the map with the stickers, and people can just buy it if they want. Jerrel, would you ever wanted a Metroid Fusion? Heck yeah! Oh, I'm a big Metroid Fusion fan. It's my favorite one. Oh, that'd be so cool. If it looked like Dread, oh, that'd be awesome. True Atari players will pen and paper the map. Jackal knows what's up. Jackal knows what's going on. I grew up with Atari on the 2600, so I genuinely played it and was confused by it because at that time I also already had Zelda. The Legend of Zelda for the NES, and at that time, eventually, it was later on I got Link to the Past, and I was so confused because as a kid I didn't understand why Link to the Past was good and why E.T. was bad. I didn't get it. So I'll show you Grandpa's house in the original. You love Metroid Fusion, me too. The suit, it was so creepy. Like the story of the fusion suit's so creepy, and then like Samus's DNA gets overwritten. Oh, it's just creepy. I love that.
what do you think of this approach to game design? Let's see. One question before you clock out for game developers. I recently enjoyed the concepts that a game development studio called Sock Pop make. It feels like mini games focused on a singular mechanic. I like that. I really like that because it's a focused experience, and it means that the developer is focusing on sharing a very specific idea and a very specific catered uh, gameplay experience. I like that. It's kind of like the WarioWare game, so I do like that. I just realized I was like, super slouching the whole video because I'm on a lounge and it's comfortable, and I was slouching the whole video. Um, yeah, that's cool. You didn't break the lines. Well, that's the joy of style matching. I love style matching. Good gracious almighty. And so I was style matching the 2600, and it meant that there were very strict limitations that I had to adhere to, and it was fun. I improved hugely as a developer. I improved a huge amount by working on this game, on the original Undertakers, because I had to work within very specific limitations. I had to think differently. I had to find different solutions, and I had to learn about what makes an Atari game feel like an Atari game. So we'll go into Grandpa's house. So here we go. This is it. This is the original here, and this is the remake here. I'm so amped to be making this game. I'm really excited. Yeah, seeing the original. This is actually my first time seeing the original next to the remake like this. So this is this is so fun. What are your thoughts about paying for Switch 2 upgrades? It depends on the pricing. It really, if the pricing is very fair, then I'd say it's fine. Metroid Fusion is definitely my favorite. It was the first Metroid I played, and also my first GBA game. It's gorgeous. Fusion is just gorgeous. It's just the art is so expressive. The use of color and shapes on such a limited platform, and they are able to communicate this creepiness. I just love the intro. I love how Samus has to have her DNA rewritten by the Metroid. Her life is saved, by the Metroid. It becomes part of her suit. I just can't think of a cooler story for Metroid than that. Like, I think that's the coolest thing ever. I heard Ubisoft needs more devs for the quadruple A games. Interested? No, thank you. I only make good games. Too bad the original doesn't have Grandpa's chair. No, no chair here. Well, see, here's the thing. In my mind, an actual Atari 2600 game would not have had furniture. It would not have had chairs. So I didn't have them. And that's why this game feels like a 2600 game. The feeling that it gets across, it makes you feel like you're playing a 2600 game. Because a real 2600 game would not have put furniture in there. I would also like a Metroid Prime 2 remaster. The atmosphere looked amazing. Metroid, that's one of the strong points of Metroid, is always the atmosphere. And here's the thing, I really like Metroid, I really like Samus, but I never play Samus in Smash. And the reason being is every time I do, my friends stop talking to me for a couple of weeks. And so I kind of got the hint that, okay, so if we're gonna remain friends, I need to not play Samus. I think that's what's happening here. You adore the Metroid Prime series, does everything right. The next Prime looks so cool. That looks awesome. Look up Cruelty Squad by Consumer Soft Products. It's also a game about DNA modification. That's like body horror. It's so creepy. I really enjoy that. Cruelty Squad. Cruelty Squad. Cruelty. Ah, this looks cool. Yeah. Consumer Soft Products. I just like this hand-drawn look. It's interesting. Some of the color choices are quite difficult to look at. It's a little uncomfortable to look at, but obviously that's what they're going for. What was the other one? The other one's Psycho Patrol R is a lot easier to look at. I'm finding this a little hard to look at. I feel like Psycho Patrol R attempts to do the same thing in terms of the style of visuals, but Psycho Patrol R is much easier to look at. This is so cool. Psycho Patrol R is interesting. Oh, it's creepy. I like that a lot. Cruelty Squad. I'd be willing to look at this more. I don't want to. I'm not trying to be mean. I think it's late at night. My eyes are tired of looking at a screen all day, but the colors here are a little hard for me to look at. Oh, I got a trailer playing automatically over here. Hold on. How do I get that to go away? That's from Compound Fracture. Okay, guys. Let me see. Let me just play this track, and then when this track is done, we'll clock out. So we'll hang out for another 3 minutes, and then I'll clock out. It's almost 2 a.m., so that's my work day. Try to get about 5 to 6 hours of sleep, and then start the work day again. Slay the Princess has amazing hand art. Huh. What engines have you used and liked? I work with Unity for work and like to dabble in Godot on the side. I don't know if I can keep track of all of that. It's kind of late, honestly. Unity is the one I use for work, but I've used Defold. I actually like Defold. I used it to make games for KaiOS, the mobile platform. So I used Defold. I wouldn't use it for other platforms because other platforms, there's other engines that I'm already more familiar with that I can work faster in. So I wouldn't use Defold for like mobile because I can use Unity for mobile. But Defold is very fast. It's very lightweight, so it's good for weak hardware. So, well, in that case, like if I needed to make something for very weak hardware, then yeah, I would still use Defold. I really like the old Game Maker. Game Maker 8.1 you can use to make PSP games. There's DS Game Maker. And then I've used stuff for the Pokemon Mini for NES. I'm using something called 8-bit Unity for Lynx right now. It's a framework. It's very effective. I'm using, I forgot the name of something, but that's for the Game Gear, which also targets the Master System. So yeah, it's a bunch of stuff that I don't know I don't know all the names off the top of my head. It's really late. It's 2 a.m. That's when I know that time to clock out and get some sleep. It's 11 in Puerto Rico. Cool. You started with Game Maker 8 when you were 12. Yeah, nice, awesome. Yeah, I used heaps of Game Maker. Oh, you're in North Carolina. Cool. 11:45. I have family in Tennessee. I grew up with family that were from the South, so sometimes when I get very tired, sometimes I'll have a Southern drawl. Sometimes when I'm frustrated, often when I'm frustrated, I have a Southern drawl, and then often when I'm talking to my dogs, I'll have a Southern drawl. So it just comes out sometimes. Hey, William, thank you for that. I really appreciate that. I'll have to catch up and watch the whole thing from the beginning, but always educational and enjoyable at the same time. Have a blessed day. I really appreciate that. Thank you, William. Yeah, Jerrel, do you like Super Mario World? I love Super Mario World. Actually, my favorite Mario game that's from like a recent ones is Super Mario 3D World. It was really fun. I like the cool, weird powers. I always like being able to play as Peach. She's my favorite because she can cheat with her dress. She can hover. I like when there's a bunch of playable characters in Mario games. So yeah, remember guys, you can play the original. You can play Silver Falls Undertakers. I'll put it in the... Don't forget the map. Again, the game is really hard without the map. So there's the map. Okay. Peach has always been cheating, and that's cool, man. I'm glad to not die on the waterfall if it means I can just float across. Thanks, everyone. It's been really great hanging out. I really appreciate all of you just having fun here and chatting and talking games and whatever. And I hope all of this stuff was interesting, seeing the games being made. But again, this flower patch here, that's our little secret. That's our secret. You don't tell anyone about that secret. When you play the game, you'll know. This is our spot here. I'm thinking of the Family Guy cutaway where there's a Bob Ross and he goes like, he's like, "Don't you tell anyone I put that bush there. I will hurt you." Oh, Family Guy makes me laugh. All right, awesome. Thanks everyone. Hope you gained some soul points today. Yeah, I did. It was restful. I got work done. It's been fun hanging out with you guys. So yeah, I've recovered some of my soul points. And again, guys, I just did a new PSP homebrew game. You can play this on an emulator or your PSP free. There's no monetization. If for some reason I'm trying to figure out why the font is messed up when you're playing it on PSP. It's the font's sort of a little messed up, but you can still play the game. But again, please feel free to enjoy this. It's just a chill vibe. You're speedrunning, watching paint dry for 4 hours, and you're trying to get a high score. So, yeah, that's free. Enjoy it. I'm working on more PSP stuff. I'm working on more DS stuff. I think my next homebrew game is going to be a DS one. So, thanks everyone. It's been a lot of fun hanging out. Okay, what assets use it? I make my own assets and stuff. You're exhausted emotionally. If you're exhausted emotionally, then try this. Use a PSP emulator, use a real PSP. This is relaxing. This is such a chill vibe. You're speedrunning, watching paint dry for 4 hours. It's for people that just need to recover some soul points in real life, and that's it. And take care, everyone. I can tell you still want to hang out. I do want to hang out, but I have to sleep. Incoming screenshots of Roadblock. Okay. So it's going to be us. We're going to be online. People will be posting screenshots of this spot, and no one is going to understand why, except for the handful of people that are here. You guys are the only ones that will know why. Take care, everyone. All right, we'll see you. We'll hang out again soon. We'll hang out. We'll have fun. See ya. Thanks again, everyone.